Visit TriCountyElectricService.com.
There could be some slick spots on your way into downtown Cleveland thanks to the overnight rain, but for the most part, the drive-in, at least for now, is pretty good. Jeff Thomas, Odyssey Cleveland traffic.
Broadcasting from the 92.3 The Fan Studios, fueled by True North Convenience Stores. This is where Cleveland comes to talk Browns football. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan, WKRK-FM and HD1 Cleveland Heights. An Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
Now the Guardians fell behind the Angels again on Wednesday afternoon. However, Travis Bazzana started the comeback with a sac fly in the top of the fifth. In the ninth, after Stephen Kwan had tied the game with a ground rule double, Bazzana did the job once again.
And with one out, Bazzana with a boomer to deep right. It'll be caught, tagging up, coming home with a go-ahead run. Rocchio will score. 4-3 Cleveland in the ninth. They have gotten up off the mat once again.
That Kersey Guardians TV. Good guys win it 4-3. Guardians sweep the three-game series. They've now won 7 straight. Bazzana pair of sac flies go along with a pair of hits. Joey Cantillo wins 6 innings despite walking 7, would give up 3 runs, 2 earned on just 2 hits. Guardians rookie Chase DeLauder out of the starting lineup for a 3rd straight game, sore left hamstring. However, for the 2nd straight game, DeLauder used as a pinch hitter, this time single to start Cleveland's rally in the 9th inning. DeLauder was replaced by pinch runner Petey Halpin. After today's off day, the Guardians hoping DeLauder back in the line for tomorrow night's game at home against Kansas City. Guardians remain 2.5 games out of first in the AL Central. The White Sox beat Texas 10-4 on Wednesday. Chicago's Tristan Peters hoping it his 5th consecutive game time, the franchise and Major League Baseball record for rookies. Cleveland got no closer to Chicago, but upped its lead over the Rangers to 2 games for the final wild card spot. Browns wrapping up the preseason thump as they'll entertain New England at the stadium. Browns 0-2 in exhibition play with losses to the Bears and the Bills. Pats coming into the game with a victory and a tie. Starters for both teams not expected to play. Dylan Gabriel will open up at quarterback for the Browns and be followed by Taylor Green. Catch the Browns and the Patriots time right here on 92.3 The Fan. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
I would have to make a real assessment after 2 weeks. I would look at game 1, game 2, and I think you have to consider the environment he'd be walking back into when you go back to Cleveland. If it looks really bad and, you think Shedeur is close, then I could certainly see a scenario where it's just best for the team that we pull the plug now and we start Shedeur. I certainly think that, the first 2 games, that's a marker for you.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Left field. Siri makes the catch, tagging up. Here comes Rocchio. Throw going all the way to home plate, but not in time. And Bazzana picks up the RBI, his 41st on the year. And the Guardians are on the board. It's 3-1 now here in the 5th. Line drive. Is it going to get in? Yes, it will. Bazzana will score. And Adele stopping at second base. That's the tying run. And Nathaniel Lowe with the RBI, is 49th on the season. Makes it a 1-run game. Drilled deep right field, down the line, and one hops into the seats for an RBI ground rule double, and we're tied at 3. Stephen Kwan with a scorching double into the corner. His 2nd hit of the afternoon, and who else but Stephen Kwan would you expect to come up with the big hit? And with one out, Bazzana with a boomer to deep right. It'll be caught, tagging up, coming home with a go-ahead run. Rocchio will score. 4-3 Cleveland in the 9th. They have gotten up off the mat once again. Popped him up. Tough sun play, though. Can somebody get there? Bazzana's out. Book it. He hangs on, and the Guardians sweep the road trip, running their win streak to 7 straight. And they're just 2 games back of the White Sox now in the AL Central.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of Guardians TV. I don't care who it's against. You win 7 in a row. You're 6-0 on a road trip. You start off down 3-0, and you battle back the way you did. Proper credit is deserved.
Heck yeah.
The whole way.
Absolutely.
Proper credit is deserved.
They are taking care of business.
It was a top of the ninth I did not expect to see. It was a top of the ninth that I absolutely loved. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Thank you so much.
Look, we've been paying attention to their schedule for a while as they were languishing, as they had the worst offense in baseball, as they were doing everything they could with Jose Ramirez. Nothing close to the MVP, Jose Ramirez. We were wondering about the bullpen. And yesterday was critical because the White Sox won their game against Texas later on. You didn't know that yet. And yesterday was critical because you didn't want to just give one back, right?
No.
And Cantillo was just all over the place. I mean, seven walks, somehow stayed in the game.
Still found a way to battle through.
Yeah, he did. He somehow found a way.
It's my Joey Cantillo, man.
And it was nice to see DeLauder get back out there because we were starting to wonder about his situation. And then Jose Ramirez and Stephen Kwan both at the same time. I didn't know. I thought we were going to be denied this whole year, both of them having, good stretches at the same time. So that has been huge to see. I don't know if Jose just figured out how to play with his injury or what.
I'm sorry. I hate to be like this, but I got to read off the Joey Cantillo because it's just incredible. And the first inning, first off, it was Zach Neto who he challenged the very first pitch he saw of the bottom of the first, which it was wow, that's certainly something I'd never seen. And of course, they lost it, which I thought was funny. Mm-hmm. And then he proceeds to walk 7 people during his outing. He hits a batter, and somehow he finishes with it. And I love it. He does actually finish with a quality start.
Yeah, not often
6
you're going to
innings.
walk 7 and have that.
Yeah, gave up less than 3 earned runs and went 6 innings. But somehow
1 strikeout, 7 walks, quality start.
Walk 7, hit a guy, and they got 2 hits with 3 runs. And
2 earned.
Yeah, counted as a quality start, baby. Hey, man, I'll make the rules.
And what? Sobrowski got his second career save.
Yes.
That was just a nice win. And look, they've beat up the bottom dwellers, right? 2 last place teams, and now they got another last place team coming up.
Well, there's a caveat to it. It is the Royals coming to town, right?
Mm-hmm.
They won 9 in a row as of yesterday afternoon. Did they win last night? Did they play last night?
They lost.
They lost last night? Okay, so they had won 9 in a row going into last night.
They are 59-75.
But they still won 9 in a row. So they are dangerous, wouldn't they be, Owen?
Yeah, they were 20 games under 500.
Okay, and now they're
only 15.
Yeah,
now they're only 15 games under 500.
They were playing the last place Blue Jays.
25 under now.
Oh, well, wait a minute. We were playing the last place Angels.
That's what I'm saying. This time of the year
in front of nobody yesterday.
You see the same stuff happen the last month and a half of the NBA season, where you get all these weird records. Then you go into the next year, you try to extrapolate. Hey, if they can play like that, it's like, oh, well, teams either have a foot out the door, or they got all their call-up guys, or they're just playing young guys, whatever. And I know we've been playing young guys for all year. So this is nice. You got to feast on these teams, and they got another opportunity to do it.
I love the, again, lack of fans. It looked like an old hot stove baseball tournament in the opening rounds in Alliance, Ohio, where it was basically mom and dad. And as we get a little bit further, maybe some people will show up, but it's only Thursday morning. And so here's the nobody that's out there. It's actually when they came back and they won the other night. We were running some highlights. I'm like, man, there was a lot of Guardians fans at that ball game because they were really whooping it up when they were coming back. But either way,
they said 75. There were 25,000 yesterday. 25,000.
If we're gonna look at it, we can't make jokes when we've done the same thing. Going, oh, really? We had 18,000 at the ballpark yesterday in those bad weather early season April games. Like, oh, really? I think we've done have we done a pretty good job with attendance this year, Owen? I think we have.
We're pretty much where we've been the last 3 years.
Which isn't bad.
And it's the same,
Not great, but
I haven't been to as many games this year as I was last year, but
you're a busy beaver.
2 weeks ago, like this month and next month, I actually have a lot of time. I plan on being at a lot of games, but last weekend series, they were in town. It was San Diego, and I think Friday was a sellout, and Saturday was a near sellout. I mean, it was 36 and 35, and even Sunday where they had that huge rain delay. I mean, I don't know what they listed, but it still looked like 15,000 stayed through that big rain delay.
A question asked later on in this show has, in effect, has Stephen Kwan saved his career? Because it looked really, really. Now hold on, it looked really, really bad for a moment. Like he would have, if he would have been let go or cut, he wasn't going to get let go. If he would have been traded, he would have picked up somewhere else. But I mean, at one point we were talking about a $25 million guy, and now I'm not sure necessarily what that would be. But he's up to 275. He was 5 for 5 the other day. He was 2 for 5 yesterday. Had an RBI yesterday. I mean, he's fantastic, and he was fantastic going in. Just pointing out, like the second half for him has been phenomenal for Stephen Kwan. Jose Ramirez doing Jose Ramirez things again. That's always fantastic because he had, his 17th 3 extra base hit game the other day. Like, these are fantastic things coming right in the nick of time for the Cleveland Guardians. So I want to ask that question about Stephen Kwan maybe a little bit later on. Like, in the good standing of it, like, yeah, he'd play somewhere else. But in the good standing of it, did he effectively save his name in so many ways? Maybe not saved his career, but saved his name. All right, so you wanted to bring up a directive here. So go ahead.
So did you know this happened yesterday? I started seeing the tweets about it.
I posted about it, yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it almost looked like I copied and pasted directive, synchronized messaging that was going on where everybody who have been fighting me tooth and nail about every opinion I've ever had on Shedeur Sanders. A lot of Colorado Buffalo fans, a lot of fans.
Well, you know my theory about it.
Without their real picture, without real names.
That's what I'm saying. You know my theory about it.
Where's the origin country? Oh, Turkey. Everybody's trying to get their hair worked on.
Are you coming around to the theory?
It's not everybody, because I see some of the people do put out videos.
There are definitely some fans, absolutely. I'm not saying that, but I think the vast majority of people that you're fighting with, and I will include you, I have to include Jason. Well, you don't really fight him. You just kind of laugh and move on. But like Jason, some of the ones that have gotten worked into a shoot that are Browns fans, it's like, you guys are arguing with bots and burner accounts. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, if you do any root hogging at all, it's like, really, every response you have is about one person and one person only.
That's all they tweet about.
This isn't real, guys.
They don't really tweet about the Browns. There might be some Kevin Stefanski tweets, monitoring what he's doing in Atlanta. But either way, yesterday at about 11 a.m., it became a universal sentiment from everybody in that camp, which was, well, guys, Deshaun Watson won the quarterback competition. That's the quarterback.
Okay.
Therefore, don't talk about the other quarterback. And they all had the exact same tweets.
Okay.
They all had the exact same messaging. And yeah, they use certain accounts.
It's the exact same burners and it's the exact same bots.
They did use a few of the more influential card holders of the Shedeur camp.
Are you talking about the one that
there's a few of them
that the fantasized about slapping somebody the other day?
There was one of them.
That's a real person.
One of them who is
ridiculously
threatened physical violence on people that disagree with them. That's normal in our country nowadays, unfortunately. But there was a lot of that, and then their big tentpole accounts, they kind of explained it. Okay, they gave some breadth to it and some thought to it of why that would be the case.
Well,
and I guess I would ask, like, aren't we all in the same place that we all think Shedeur is going to get in there sooner rather than later?
Yeah, of course.
So why would we not talk about that guy?
The first thing is that he's a backup quarterback in Cleveland. So I think that's how you can kind of tell who's a real Browns fan and has been a Browns fan their entire life, and somebody who's either A, a bot, B, a burner account, C, somebody who's actually maybe real, but they've just dropped in. Well, you don't talk about backups. Like, yes, you do. In Cleveland, you talk about backups more than you talk about the regular quarterback, because we're always looking over the shoulder of the regular quarterback, because usually it's a backup that we have to get excited about. And this guy happens to be pretty popular, and he is the backup quarterback to somebody who's very unpopular to the fan base. And, yeah, that's the way this works. So I hate to tell everybody, because I hope that we can get the quarterback situation figured out, but it doesn't look like it's going to be this year, that if they're tired of, well, keep his name out of his mouth because he's the backup. Keep the name out of your mouth. He's a backup quarterback. It's like, you better settle in for the ride, buddy, because I don't think anybody thinks we're a couple of weeks away from the start of the season. I don't think anybody thinks the other guy, the starter, is going to go out there and play well. Well, if they don't think the guys who starts playing well, Who are they going to look to? And this is a city that, again, and I told you this yesterday, because when this first got brought up, like during the show at like 9:40, I just scoffed at you, and I go, this is a city that actually bought a backup quarterback's barbecue sauce. And he had started games too, but he was a backup quarterback, and he launched his own brand of merchandise, for crying out loud. So, yeah, you can figure out if you really want to be on the internet, and I would caution you against it because there's weird rabbit holes in this. He's a backup, and we're going to talk about the backup because teams that don't have quarterbacks talk about their backups. So, tough bleep, man. I don't know what else to tell. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, it just kind of comes off, and look, I can't speak for every Shedeur fan, although I get asked all the time to speak for the Browns fan base, in mass, and I take that I take that responsibility very seriously.
I don't think you. I don't. Do either of us speak for all Browns?
I always love that one.
No, we speak for ourselves as Browns.
I love
fans.
that one because of the backlash. Anytime I get quoted anywhere or people see. Anyway,
do you start these sentences with "on behalf of Cleveland Browns"?
Well,
fans,
I do, and it's hard.
That'd be great.
It's hard to speak for everybody because there's so many different factions of the fan base. But like a political party, I like to consider us one big family. We can be, one inclusive tent. And so I will speak for everybody.
All right.
As best I can. That's not easy to do.
Okay.
But I always will try to make sure that the Shedeur sentiment is out there because I feel like I communicate with enough of them that who better to represent their viewpoints than somebody like me. So altogether, I do think it's kind of a take your ball and go home. You're not happy he lost the quarterback competition.
I'm not happy he lost the quarterback competition. I don't think Browns fans
we both said that we wanted Shedeur to win the quarterback competition.
Guys, this is when they're really going to talk about Shedeur because no one's happy that he lost the quarterback competition. And so they want him to eventually be the starter sooner than later. Mm-hmm. So his name's going to get brought up.
Yeah, well, and in comparison too, right? And we'll play a little bit later on, but who is it again? The former quarterback, the big beard from Harvard.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. He detailed why in the most calm manner known to mankind. He's the only person that's calm in discussing this.
He's the only former player I think that's calm. Well, we'll talk to Brady Quinn coming up at 9 o'clock.
He explained why he thought Deshaun Watson won the battle and what Shedeur needs to get better at.
Brady Quinn, also former popular backup quarterback that people here couldn't stop talking about.
You're darn tootin'. He absolutely was.
You could say you're damn right.
No,
you can say that.
I'm trying to raise 2 kids. I don't want that.
I raised 3 kids. I say all those words and much more.
We do not sign off on that kind of language in the Lima household.
Wonder who made that rule.
Who makes every rule? The person who makes every rule.
Who could that be? Anywho.
But yeah, it comes off to me like now they're not even admitting that he really lost it. They're like, well, this thing was determined months ago.
Well, it kind of was.
Well, not if Shedeur would have played better.
Yeah, but
you didn't think he could play better?
There is such a thing as no, he got an opportunity, but there is such a thing as preconceived notions.
Well, yeah, somebody's always going to have an edge.
But exactly, that's what I'm saying. So
but he did not play well enough to override the edge.
Yeah, but I don't realistically.
Which you agree he had the chance to, right?
So
he didn't play well enough.
But I guess he didn't. So I
guess he didn't.
I don't mean to split hairs here, but
you are splitting hairs. Had he have seized the job, we all had said this isn't new territory. Had he have come in and dominated...
Well, he played pretty well against the Bills, and then the week before, did he play that well?
No. It's getting balls batted down.
Yeah, okay, so he didn't play well enough to seize the job.
We're not splitting hairs. Like we all said he needed to play. Did
he play better than he did last year?
Then last year what?
Like last year preseason, last year during the season.
He came out guns a-blazing in that first preseason, that first drive, right?
Yeah, but then there was the Rams game that people went, oh boy, this is not
mixed bag, just like this year's preseason, mixed bag.
Okay, I'm just trying to be on the record.
I hope he's a better player. They say he is.
I would think so.
I mean, Todd Monken says he's grown leaps and bounds and is a different player than he was back in the spring.
The Monken man did say that.
Aditi said that, and she got crushed for it.
So what you're saying is that you're not going to abide by the moratorium. Is what you're saying.
I think we just need to start it
the directive.
Now. No, I'll start it. Let's start an actual tracker.
No.
Like
a tracker.
Like where darn tootin'. That's all this town cares about is trackers, apparently.
Yeah, but the tracker ended up being wrong.
What do you mean? Did it?
Yeah. What
what did it say?
I don't know, but when I saw that he won the job, didn't a lot of people say that the tracker said otherwise? So
Depends.
I guess the tracker
didn't
didn't matter.
Are you going by the touchdowns? Or are you going by the touchdown interception ratio?
Who the hell knows? I think that a lot of Browns fans might be just annoyed by that
You realize
conversation.
this wasn't going on in any other
No.
I think everybody was making fun of the tracker, but I thought our fans were making fun of it too, but it turns out our fans thought it was gospel.
No, I don't think our
fans
did.
Can we be smarter as a fan base going forward where we never do that again?
I don't think our fans did. I don't think the actual Browns fans did.
You sure about that?
I think that they might have just wanted Deshaun Watson to not start, so they might have latched onto something, but I don't think that they felt that that was real. No.
I hope our fan base grows from this experience.
Mary Kay Cab at 8:20 this morning. Coming up next, speaking on what you just said, a race to the bottom. And I can't talk about a race to the bottom without mentioning one person's name. That's impossible to do. Ken Carman, Anthony Lyman, live on The Fan.
a nice day making our way towards downtown Cleveland. Jeff Thomas, Odyssey Cleveland traffic.
This report is brought to you by the Blossom Music Festival with the Cleveland Orchestra.
This Labor Day weekend, the music of John Williams, September 4th through the 6th at Blossom. This concert is sponsored by NOPEC. Tickets at clevelandorchestra.com.
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
.905, Brady Quinn going to join us on the show when I ask him about this, because we heard from a former NFL quarterback on his podcast just yesterday. This is some really great stuff. This is why Ryan Fitzpatrick's on TV. This is why he does a lot of great things with him and Andrew Whitworth. Fitz and Wit is their podcast. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, this is a very nice detailed breakdown of why, I know, owner, $40 million. Ooh. Here's a nice detailed breakdown about why Deshaun Watson actually won the job.
Rarely is he playing on time. I think this is probably why he lost the job to Deshaun. Rarely is a play getting operated like it's supposed to be operated. Your read is 1, 2, 3. That ball's got to come out. You've got a bunch of young receivers and you've got a bunch of young skill position guys. Deshaun Watson's delivering it on time and he's putting it in the right spot more often than not. Shador, antsy in the pocket a little bit, wandering eyes. Those are things he can improve at. You've seen it in the preseason. He's seeing the field a little bit better. Outside the numbers, 10 to 20 yards, you just don't see Shador throw it out there much. Preseason, what do we see right away? He hits a little comeback to the left side in that range. He has the arm to do it. He has the talent to do it. We just got to see it a little bit more.
So that's Ryan Fitzpatrick. I thought that was about as fair as you're going to get.
Totally measured.
From anybody outside.
And he also, he basically killed Deshaun's inability to throw the ball down the field, too. He says he just can't do it anymore.
No. And I think that probably makes a lot of sense. Like you asked me, what's worse in all this? Is it Shador not being able to beat Watson or Watson having to compete with Shador? And I think it's absolutely Watson having to compete with Shador.
Well, there was a bigger conversation there, though. The bigger conversation was in the afternoon show. They went after Watson for taking so long to win the competition. And I'm like, well, wait a second. You guys wanted both guys to get a start, right? So when was this decided? After both guys got a start. So why all of a sudden is it, this is embarrassing for Deshaun. What would you have said if Deshaun Watson would have been named the starter a week ago, which I think Todd Monken probably wanted to do? What would you guys have all said? You guys would have all said this is the most unfair quarterback competition in the end. And then they wait a week, and now you're
talking
still
about
saying
you guys or them?
All the people in that camp. And in the end, you're still saying it. So Todd Monken, I guess, should have just named Deshaun Watson the starter a week earlier and then given him all the reps to get him truly prepared for this next game, for the actual season opener.
I see where you're coming from, but I think it's kind of embarrassing, if we're using that word. I think it's kind of embarrassing for Deshaun Watson no matter what.
His career here has been embarrassing.
That's what I mean.
That stuff's over, but I'm talking about in the actual competition. If the fans are all in Shador's corner and they all want him to play, right? Mm-hmm. But all he needed to do was come out and look better than Watson, and he really didn't, according to everybody who's been there. And, that's what we just played the clip, detailing the differences between the two. And again, Fitzpatrick's not saying Shador can't get there eventually, but he's not there now. This was a golden opportunity for him to be able to win one of the easier jobs there is to win in the NFL. And if he couldn't win it here, he wasn't going to win it anywhere.
I think that what Ryan Fitzpatrick just gave us, though, was kind of an inside glimpse as to why Shador wasn't day one. And it wasn't conspiracy. It wasn't preconceived notions. It wasn't nastiness. I think he gave it why. That's why, listen, I called it a race to the bottom because that's kind of what it is in so many ways. I think we've turned this into a huge, nasty gutter fight over a couple of guys that probably won't be here next year. When one guy, he will leave a legacy because of the dead cap space. But two guys that probably won't be here next year will clear out that room, and we'll probably bring in somebody else, and we'll probably bring in another veteran from somewhere else. So, by the way, for guys who are looking for another crack at it somewhere else that we haven't talked about, kind of now's the time to put your best foot forward and see whether or not maybe a Gardner Minshew starts out the season next year in front of a rookie if you don't want to start that rookie right off, which you could turn right around and go, well, how's Dante Moore that good if you can't beat out Gardner Minshew? Well, not ready's not ready. And I think that's what Ryan Fitzpatrick is saying. You're not ready yet. That's exactly what Ryan Fitzpatrick is saying. And that's kind of the thing I was saying yesterday is that, hey, I'm not going to turn around and make the situation worse if I really just don't believe right now that you're ready to go out there and conduct it. It's not week 14 where anything goes, who the hell cares? We got to do what we can. It's week 1. And you have a first-year head coach. And he's trying to get started off in the best foot he possibly can. So he's going to go with who he trusts more. And if he trusts Deshaun Watson more, then I'm going to say it's not a very good quarterback room. But if we're talking about the embarrassment overall, it's got to be more embarrassing for the guy that had to go after the fans, got mad about it. But
that won
honestly,
the competition?
That won the competition for a team that they won a competition that they have no intention of keeping him after this year.
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
That's pretty embarrassing.
The whole thing was set up. How easy would it have been for this directive coming from the Haslams? How easy would it have been to go with the guy that could sell all the jerseys, that was a fan favorite?
You and I have been lockstep on that one.
This would have been the easiest thing in the world, but he wasn't good enough, so they couldn't do it. So they couldn't even get him ready for week 1.
But again, I go back to, this is probably the reason he was more day 3 than he was day 1.
Of course.
Okay. But is it embarrassing for a guy who's a 5th rounder? Stay with me. I understand he's got a big name.
Who was supposed to go number 2 overall, according to this fan base.
Well, he didn't. Well, according to Mel Kiper Jr. as well. So I don't know what else to say about that. That's a guy who's made a hell of a lot of money that everybody wanted to put in the Hall of Fame 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden he doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground about players. Okay. So I'm not trying to get petty about that. I'm just trying to give a reasonable explanation. If we stick to the facts of the matter, then he was a day 3 choice. All right. How many 5th round guys end up being the starting quarterback week 1 the next year? Not very many. Not very many whatsoever. So I don't look at it as this giant mishap and this giant mess of a QB where the NFL has told you over and over and over again what they think of him. Lack of a trade market. If there were a trade market, do you think that would have happened already? Do you think that they might have done that? Do you think that he would have been taken higher? Yes, yes, yes. So I don't want to hear about that. You're getting a former quarterback who played in this league a long time, who made good money in this league for a long time. At one point was a starter, and one team thought he was a high-level starter for them. But it still knows what he's talking about, giving you a reasonable look into why one guy won the job over the other. And it's not about embarrassment to me on one side, because it makes sense that a 5th round guy is going to be the week 1 starter the next year in his second season. But it doesn't make sense to a lot of people that the 30-year-old who used to be an MVP candidate is now battling it out, quote unquote, with a 5th round guy. That is more embarrassing. One guy's made a hell of a lot more money than the other one, but that's still more embarrassing.
I guess I'm just reacting to the pity party. I'm
not trying to have a pity party. I'm trying to give it to you as straight as I possibly can.
It's just immediately once he lost the job, it was solidified from day 1. I'm like, well, but everybody who has been there every day and who's talked to teams that have faced him have said that Deshaun was better. So we're just saying things now to make us feel better about the prospects of a quarterback who, by the way, will get the opportunity. I don't know why there's a pity party. He's going to play. But we all agree, and most of us think he's going to play more.
Can I get into your psyche, though? We've agreed with each other on a lot, so I think you're kind of looking for a fight. And I'm not fighting you on it. And I think you might be getting a little bit frustrated. And so that's why you're going after some people who have been pretty pro-Shedeur Sanders here over the last couple of months.
I'm enjoying that now we have to put out marching orders for everybody to agree in unison that his name is not to be said again. Now we violated
he's the backup quarterback. He's the more popular person. He's going to be talked about.
We violated the terms of we were going to say that we're not going to mention him. There was going to be a cutoff here, but we violated that already, unfortunately.
Yeah, because he's the backup and people want to see him start. And if we're talking about the guy playing in week 3,
the moratorium.
Has everybody said he's like Ryan Wilson was on CBS Sports HQ? Is like, I don't expect Deshaun Watson to get to week 3. How many people have said they don't expect Deshaun Watson to get to week 3? A good fair majority of people, 75% of people say they don't expect Deshaun Watson to get to week 3. Well, guys, week 3 ain't that far off. So guess who we're talking about? So I'm not having some weird pity party and some internet fight.
It sets up so much better for Shedeur now because they will have given that offensive line time to gel for another month.
Well, no one wants to see that.
And then he gets to go out there and be the hero with the fan base going nuts. if it all goes how we think it's going to go, Deshaun, I don't know where he's going to be. I don't know where he's going to be watching the game. But he will not be the starting quarterback by that time if it goes the way we all think it's going to.
And no one wants to see that. And you know why? Because of what the starting quarterback did back on Saturday. See, it'd be a lot easier to take had he not done that back on Saturday. And I guess you could turn right around and say the fans shouldn't boo. That's the biggest line of BS I've ever heard in my life. It's an entertainment sport. They make good money to play this game. You have every right to boo. You don't have every right to do other things, but you have every right to boo.
We will have this discussion. If they were 2-0 and this went like none of us thought it would, and they're 2-0 and he's actually playing well, then we'll have a different discussion on whether it makes sense to boo him going into week 3.
But I'll eat a hell of a lot of crow if he goes 2-0 because I don't think anybody out there, including the Browns, think he's going to go 2-0. So if we're all getting ready for somebody else to take the job in the month of September, for crying out loud here, then I guess his name's going to get brought up and get brought up several times over. And I think that there will be a natural die down around next week because you're going to have this odd week in between the game week that's coming up. That's going to be natural. Unless something else crazy happens, who the hell knows? But I don't know if it's going to be any of his doing. But until then, yeah. Because the starting quarterback went out and went after the fans. And that's something that all the people, either the folks that are Shador fans that really don't care for the Browns or mad at the Browns, that Browns fans who really don't care for any of them, that's what they can all agree on, that they don't want to see the other guy start. And if he wouldn't have said anything, it would have been a hell of a lot easier to take, and people wouldn't have been having a pity party. 216-474-0092. Mary Kay Cabot, 820 on the Fan. And you might not believe me, but speaking of another show, I actually agree with what Nick Wilson had to say yesterday about one thing in particular. I'll tell you what it is coming up at 6:42 on the Fan.
The Medina County Collectors Fair, presented by Greenie Sports Cards, August 28th and 29th, where sports and pop culture collide at the Medina County Fairgrounds. For more details about the Medina County Collectors Fair, visit greenieshows.com.
Hear the reaction from inside the Browns locker room after each and every game on your home for the official Browns postgame show, 92.3 The Fan.
Do you think there's any chance they could cut Jerry Jeudy?
No, didn't really think so.
Reason I asked, CBS Sports had like cut candidates, and they listed Jerry Jeudy as a possible cut candidate for the Cleveland Browns, and I'm like, not yet. But my issue is I can't find a reason to not cut him.
Why are you keeping him? There's only one reason I think he stays on the team.
Why is that?
I think it's clear the starting quarterback has a best friend on the team. I think it's Jerry Jeudy.
Well,
if you go back and rewatch those TV broadcasts, and not just the thing that went down with him flashing fours and all that,
whether or not that was real or not,
they're always beside each other on the sideline. Didn't they go to Cavs games together?
They're clearly friendly with each other, and by the way, that's fine. Again, we talked about it yesterday. Where
I know he's a veteran. Is he veteran leadership in that room, in that wide receiver room?
Jerry Jeudy? Yeah. Well, I'm not sure, but I think I can give you one reason. Speaking about this, Lima, you had said yesterday that you're not hearing anything that's coming out of the building about players or anything being opposed to Deshaun Watson or anything. For that matter, you're not hearing anything about Shador, the backup quarterback. We're not allowed to say his name, apparently. It's dumb.
Yep, you got to reset it.
We got to reset the what? The
clock.
The clock.
Yeah,
okay.
We had gone an entire 10 minutes without mentioning his name. But darn tootin'. Now we're right back where we started.
You're not going to hear anything. I think both are likable to their teammates. And hell, you heard Shador you heard the backup back on Saturday where he said he didn't really care for people booing Deshaun Watson. So they seem to get along with each other. It's weird. There's definitely a split amongst fans on who they'd like to. Well, there's a vast majority now who would like to start Shador Sanders after Saturday, but they seem to be getting along with each other for the most part as a team. I'm sure there's definitely some guys who don't get along with each other. That happens. You got 90 guys in there. Things are going to happen. But I think I have a football reason right off the top of my head as we were talking. Does Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston make Jerry Jeudy's job easier?
I thought so.
Okay.
And in a way, I thought in a way, vice versa, because we know he's had his issues here and the drops kind of come and go, but when they come, and he just seems like he's mentally out of the game. But we also remember the game where, it was like a record-setting game against his old team. Like, we know nobody's ever disputed that the talent was there or wasn't. What we were always reacting to, is he a good guy to have in the locker room? Well, locker rooms change every year, obviously.
Of course.
And, Judy's been at everything. He's been a little inconsistent in camp. He's had days where he's been great, and he's had other bad days. That's pretty much mirrored his entire career. But I think you want to start the season with as much weaponry as you can, unless you feel like he's demanding the ball or anything. And have you ever felt that Jeudy has been that guy?
No.
Here in Cleveland, I don't think it's been that.
Demanded the ball.
I don't think he's even in a position to demand the ball, because I think that the attention's been on Boston and Concepcion the whole time, and even Isaiah Bond really could be taking snaps from him this year.
Yeah, but even going back to the last couple of years, I'm sure he wants the ball. He's a wide receiver. He should want the ball.
But has he been?
Who's the highest paid in the room?
It would be him.
Yeah. So,
but has he been real vocal about it?
No, we haven't heard that yet. That's something that you see. Body language wise, probably first. That's probably your first read, right?
Now he has been
in-game body language.
Now, and he has absolutely had some bad body language in games, and him and Shador got into it. But receivers do get into it with quarterbacks. I don't think that means you throw them off the team. So I'm a little mixed on this. I want things to be.
Last year we didn't have any other options.
Right.
No.
I want things to be as easy on Concepcion and Boston as humanly possible. Like, this is just like Boston came into camp immediately, and he was high pointing everything, and he was boxing guys out. He was skying up to make grabs. But then, if you noticed, as we got further along in practice, like, he couldn't get any separation against Denzel Ward.
Yes,
and that's Denzel Ward. But he's going to go up against better guys. So it's like, you don't want to, especially if this all is about Shador eventually. You don't want to make it to where it's Shador and rookies.
No.
And second-year Harold Fannin. That's a dangerous place to be.
Well, and going back to what Ryan Fitzpatrick said, that's part of the reason why Deshaun would start is he's the veteran, can throw with better anticipation, and you got rookies out there. And maybe that's what Jerry Jeudy's been quietly thinking without actually saying it. I mean, it would go to stand about the truth of the matter of it. But if the money's already paid, and I got two other, last year, I thought it was pretty easy to bracket Jerry Jeudy. Harold Fannin ended up being, I think at first they didn't respect Harold Fannin. I think as the season went on, they certainly respected Harold Fannin. And then you had to play a little bit better defense against him. But you think about last year, they had so few options, especially after the Quinshon Judkins injury. There were so few options to throw to that really anybody who played quarterback, you were going to be trying to force the football in there to Jerry Jeudy anytime you threw because you knew that he was the option that you had. You can't count on Cedric Tillman. You really couldn't count on a lot of other people. I know Isaiah Bond slipped past the defense every now and then, but that's not really conducting an offense. Jerry Jeudy helps you go collect first downs, take time off the clock, manage a football game, and go win a football game. See, that's what he's supposed to do. And if he's the only guy out there, then you can eliminate him, all right? Or if he's just out there with Harold Fannin like he was most of the year, you could definitely help still eliminate him and still go out there and win a football game. But now that you have Jerry Jeudy with these other two, I understand that Jerry was pretty cantankerous last year and is not a favorite to a lot of the media out there, but I am willing to give him a fresh start to see with KC Concepcion and Denzel Boston because I think that two literal threats, two guys that I think can be very good for this football team can make Jerry Jeudy better. Because covering three of them, it's the one thing that I think we got really going for us into this year. I don't know what we're going to have with our offensive line. Spencer Fano is only 1/5. I got to see more of it. The running backs, all right, it still goes with the offensive line because they got better in game 2, but I can still have a situation where I have 21 carries and 31 yards like I did a couple of weeks ago in the opener of the preseason. So I'm not sure about that. Defensively, we talked about that, but let's stick to offense here. If I have those three guys, let me see what it looks like here for a month. Let me see what it looks like when Shador takes over with Jerry Jeudy in this offense, with those other two, with KC Concepcion and Denzel Boston. I can't give you much of an argument with Cedric Tillman. I don't know if Cedric Tillman has really learned to run the route tree, has learned to read the defense as he lines up. I'm not sure about that. Maybe Todd can tell you different.
I figured he was getting cut.
I think a lot of people have figured he was getting cut. But wasn't there an injury designation last week when he didn't play? I thought that there was some sort of an injury designation. So I think that that's something that we could pay attention to as we get ready for tonight. But again, just going back to Jerry Jeudy, if you were going to talk about cut candidates, the more likely one out of the wide receiver room would definitely be Cedric Tillman because I'd like to see one more look at Jerry Jeudy before I really just wash my hands of the guy. I understand that there's been some bad drops on social media at training camp that has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And last year was basically a disaster for him, a lost season for Jerry Jeudy. But I didn't have a good wide receiver room there. I probably had the worst in the NFL. And if I bring these two rookies in that we're excited about, I'd like to at least see because I don't know if we're going anywhere. So let's see if we can get some good play and let's see if we can salvage this thing with Jerry Jeudy. Am I wrong? Is that such a bad thing?
No, I personally feel like they've been burnt so many times by this veteran wide receiver. And I know they traded for him, so this is different than, the Kenny Britts that come in out of free agency. And they had a good year 5 years ago, and then they come in and become a total locker room cancer.
Yeah.
When you have two bright rays of hope out there on the edges.
Absolutely.
I get a little worried about that. But, you're right. Jerry hasn't shown me anything this season that says he'd be that guy that would shake it up.
Well, you're still going to run into trouble because you got three guys there you got two guys that we're really excited about. One guy we're trying to salvage in Jerry Jeudy, right? If you deal with any sort of a pass rush, I just mentioned that it's going to be a huge question mark going into week 1 about how this offensive line is going to perform. And they'll probably, if they stay healthy, they'll probably perform better as the season goes on. But I can only go with what I'm about to see right now. If you have a pass rush, it's going to speed up the clock. It's going to make any quarterback back there, and you don't have the best quarterback room in the NFL by any means, it's probably going to make that situation worse. And you probably will force turnovers because they're going to hurry themselves up. But if Denzel Boston and KC Concepcion and Jerry Jeudy are open, they're going to be frustrated, but we're going to see that in the All-22. And then we can just go, okay, we got to do better on the offensive line. We got to do better at the quarterback position, and then we can move on. I don't think it's as cut and dry as Jerry Jeudy really likes Deshaun Watson, and I hate Deshaun Watson, so Jerry Judy's got to go. No, I don't think it needs to be that way. It doesn't need to be as cut and dry as Jerry Judy's been a disappointment. He is, but I still would like to see a little bit more with these two rookies beside him. 216-474-0092. All right, I said it. I mean it. I heard something said on this station yesterday. I actually agree with it, and I actually think we should do our best to go with Nick's idea. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan. Daisy.
Browns content filtered right to your phone during the preseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
Coming up at 20 minutes, the last American college football hero. And he resides in Columbus. You Buckeyes fans, don't take this year for granted, considering all the craziness that's going on around you, especially if you're a Browns fan.
Yeah, talking about Aaron Noland. See, he got beat out yesterday.
Oh, really?
In Memphis, I think.
Oh,
it
that's
Memphis?
a shame.
So many guys.
Like
there really is. There are Buckeye. There are guys that follow recruiting, Buckeye guys that could tell you 8 quarterbacks that were at Ohio State were in Columbus one day. They thought were going to start and just never had a career.
I didn't even realize he was in Memphis. And it ended up on my timeline. I go, why is the Memphis quarterback? I just thought it was like maybe Bud Elliott or something who's like a college football guy. And I just moved on. And now that makes sense because my first thought is, boy, I kind of like the blue and white tiger stripes. That whole thing. That's kind of cool. I get it. Oh,
I'm not even
Nolan.
I'm not even making fun of anybody here because we would have been just as guilty. But I remember hearing a few years ago the afternoon show was going on and on about Aaron Nolan in the pecking order, and it's like you just never know. There are guys that will never play that are on the roster today. Remember Quinn Ewers? I mean, I'll never forget that video that came out with Quinn Ewers changing his arm dimensions like crazy, like throwing all over the place, and Albert Breer was like, "Oh, ready for the NFL now."
I'm sorry, that is as petty as you've ever been in my entire life.
No, we're just as guilty, though.
I totally forgot that they were obsessed with Aaron Nolan back in the day.
It would make sense.
Oh, you're nasty.
You get these big recruits, and you think, and then they never, especially now, because when the writing's on the wall, you just transfer. You just get out of there, get out of Dodge.
Oh, I'm glad you brought up the guys in the afternoon. I actually agree with Nick on something. He doesn't want to talk about tanking. I totally agree. The mock drafts, you can't avoid them. You can't avoid them. So I don't know if you want some rules or anything like that, because I'd like to say that the season's more about evaluation. And by the way, they are starting to come out of the woodwork. We got a few weeks until the season starts, and I knew this was going to happen, and I know I'm going to have to stay steadfast. I'm at 5 wins now after the quarterback's performance against the Buffalo Bills, and then they go around and they make him the starter, and I go, this is a broken man, and I'm at 5 wins now. And I've had some people going, oh, my God, you just hate the Browns. And I go, you don't know me at all. Just say you don't know me and move on. I've only underestimated them once, and that was at when I picked them to win 9 games and they won 11. Every other time, I've been over. So if I'm hitting 5, I don't know how it's going to go. I got to tell you. But when I hear what Nick says about the T word, I tend to agree. I'd rather it be more about evaluation than the T word. The T word's nasty. The T word brings up a lot of bad memories. The T word brings up a lot of misguided thoughts. The T word is a lazy way to do things. The T word, can find you something better. But there are definitely organizations that abstain from it as best they can. And I've had this fight several times, and it's where Nick and I are actually in agreement here. And very rarely we are. I always look and I go, man, it's the same old, same old. I know that so many go, the parity. We get these teams. We get these. Yeah, you know what? They got Jaden Daniels in Washington. And then what did they do in year 2? Well, they started to figure him out a little bit, and he got banged up, and you realize the rest of the team ain't that great. This happens. That's part of the reason I keep saying it's like, well, you can't keep saying we're just a quarterback away. You're going to fill yourself up with false hopes. That's part of the reason that Deshaun Watson's still on the roster. You need most of that $86 million. I don't know how much they'll have to take as a penalty this coming year after they cut him on June 1st, but you're going to need some of that money so I can help support whoever I take in the first round next year, whether that be Moore, Carr, Manning, whoever it may be. It's just not that simple. And I know we live in a world where we try to simplify it, but I'd like to fight it as long as I can. So if they could just keep their head above 500, like you eventually get to a point where, like Nick has said, what, not until November?
Yeah.
Well, you do eventually reach a point where, if you're still above 500 in November, then there's no conversation to have about tanking. You might as well go for the gusto. You're halfway through the season. You're above 500. Yeah, the bottom can fall out, but you've probably already won enough games where you're not going to get number one. The conversation should be moot. But if you have an 0-3 start to this year, and I've already gone through 2 quarterbacks, how am I going to stop that? Because if you go 0-2 or 0-3, you're just in a very bad hole. And by that time, I think we'll have some injuries. And by that time, I don't think we've ever are going to have the depth this year to be able to get over those injuries. So you're going to be in a not great situation here. So I'd rather call the season a season of evaluation.
I don't go into the season talking tank, although it's funny because
you haven't, no.
Lindsay helped me out from The Ringer. She was on the afternoon show yesterday, and in her piece, she's like, it's so 100% obvious that the Browns are not looking to win this year, which would be tough for us as a radio station, partner of the Browns as well, to go into the season talking like that. And I don't think we have. Like, obviously, I don't think they're going to be good. But if they start out the season 2-0, you're not going to hear me just languish and go, why did we win these games? No, you will
You've never done that.
You will hear me say that if they go into the final month of the season and they're jockeying for position in the bottom, and then we were to make moves to win games, then you'll probably hear it from me. I will not understand that. But I'm not going to do that in at the end of August and into September.
Well, I don't want them to. I don't know if anybody, including the Browns, want them to lose games on purpose. If you
until the end of the year, I definitely will want them to lose at the end of the year. The players won't. Obviously, we go over that all the time.
And I understand that semantics, but that's 98% of what we do.
But if it came down to Denzel Ward's been nursing a hamstring towards the end of the year, I'd be like, shut him down. What are we doing? Shut him down. Shut him down. Shut him down. Shut him down. This is pointless. I'm not gonna put guys out there to try to win games when we have a chance to get the best college quarterback. That's just silly. No good organization would operate in that realm. And people can say that they don't like that,
God.
but I'm right.
You're making me out to be an idiot, and I hate it.
But you're not an idiot, and I don't think you'll say that.
I hate you for this. No, because you said shut down Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward's a leader. Denzel Ward could have been shut down last year and didn't get shut down. Denzel Ward played with injuries at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Am I speaking out of turn there? Do I need to dump that?
And as he gets older every year, I would strongly advise against that.
Denzel Ward was really banged up and then still found a way to go out there. I understand what you're saying, and I think there's so many guys who roll their eyes going, Kenny, it's not this hard. You make it way harder than it is. And I go, no, I think that you guys make it harder than it is. There is culture. Yeah, I get it. I know how you guys just farted all that. But you do have a guy that is a local guy, a leader, and not always in that, because you can have leaders from all over the place. It's not always in that order. But you know damn well, Anthony, we've had a lot of guys in the history that are fan favorites that, you know what, hamstring isn't really feeling that great today.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't feel great the next week. And then all of a sudden you didn't see them. And they're fan favorites over the last 27 years. And we just, we like that guy, this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, you run on your fingers, you run on your hands. That's what you do. We're trying to go out there and we're trying to be together and we're trying to win football games, and they got theirs and they don't that's why I have a lot of respect for Denzel Ward. I've had a lot of respect for Denzel Ward, but him going out there and playing, I know, injured and seriously injured, and still going out there and making a run at it last year, that just speaks to you. I think it's an insult for me to yell at him for trying to play. Now, you could turn right around and say, yeah, but the Browns, they have doctors, and they could say it's in their best interest. I guess we can do that. But that's a conversation for a few months from now if it gets to that level.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This stuff will be obvious by the end of the year. If it's not obvious, and that means the Browns are having a good year, then no. If they're vying for a playoff spot, I'm not going to say, lose the last 5 games to get a better draft spot. Yeah, you're not going to hear me say that.
Well, that's it. But I do think that there's people who are going to be shaking their heads because if you're getting to that spot, then I think, one, there's going to be people who are mad that they're wrong, which I'm not going to be mad that I'm wrong if they win more than 5 games.
Are you kidding me?
The second thing, but you know that there's people who are that. The second thing is that you could see it as quote-unquote fool's gold. So I look at it as a season of evaluation. And then when you get to the T word, I think it's an ugly, ugly, ugly word. And I will reach a point in the season where if they lose enough games, I'm not going to sit there and be upset that they lose, but I'm not going to celebrate them losing either. I'll roll up my sleeves and we'll get ready for the quarterback conversation. But what I think Nick is trying to do, while sounds crazy to some, because I think whether he likes it or not, we're going to get to that conversation. Mock drafts, he said he'd be really annoyed by mock drafts. Like, the mock drafts are already out. I saw what Jordan Reed put out there yesterday. I saw what he has the Browns doing. I clicked for a reason.
By the way, C.J. Bailey going to Virginia with NC State, Virginia, Saturday. Coming up this weekend, week 0, your first chance to monitor the draft class.
I didn't just roll my eyes when I saw Jordan Reed's mock. I clicked on it for a damn good reason, because we all know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And what Lindsey Jones says yesterday is true. Again, you don't make the moves you've made if you were trying to really go for it. So I can't say they're not really going for it, but you do want some sort of a hope going into a season, don't you? Yeah, and I think that's perfectly fine. I may not necessarily agree with it, but I think you're in a spot where you'd love to be wrong. I'd rather the Browns win and be wrong than be right about them losing consistently. I really would. And I think that is what separates us from some other people. And that, by the way, Nick would be with us on that. So if he wants to put a moratorium on that word, or he just doesn't want to talk about mock drafts, hey, I can respect that. I can see where he's at. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to do my job and at least look at him and get ready to probably take a guy next year.
Nick's not going to be paying attention to Arch Manning and Dante Moore all year from week 1?
I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, we all are.
Well, Ohio State plays them week 2.
You're right.
So what are you going to do, not watch that game?
I refuse.
Just watch the offensive possessions.
Speaking of Ohio State, the last great college football hero resides in Columbus. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work in the free Odyssey app.
Cats come in with a victory and a tie. Starters for both teams not expected to play. Dylan Gabriel's going to open up at quarterback for the Browns. Taylor Green will take over from there, catch the Browns and the Patriots tonight. Right here on 92.3 The Fan. Kickoff is set for 8 o'clock. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
SEC and the Big Ten, they've decided to not let people back in. If you've worn an NFL jersey as a to-be-played NFL player, they're trying to not let you back in, which is probably the right move.
Except, is the dude that was with the Browns still able to play?
I think there's some sort of a loophole here or something like that. There was another loophole that was given to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So we'll find legal wranglings and loopholes here. Are we... Oh, this is bad. I am not against anybody making money, but are we really to admit that we kind of missed the NCAA yet? And that maybe Jay Billis was a little overzealous.
There are definitely facets that I will miss, but unfortunately I have to reckon with the fact that the part I loved about it was totally patently unfair to the student athletes.
What was it?
Not being able to get paid. I used to be one of those that said they're getting a scholarship. They're the most popular kid on campus. They get whatever they want. I knew they were also getting money under the table, so that's how I reconciled it. I'm like, well, they're still getting stuff, but that was only the quarterback and a couple of the,
Oh, so you're okay if the quarterback gets paid, but Orlando Pace couldn't get nothing?
I always was under the assumption that, the guys that were up for the biggest awards or whatever, they were getting taken care of one way or another, no-show jobs. Like, that wasn't just an Ohio State thing. That was going on at all the major programs. But the issue was that's so unfair. Like, that is obviously unfair, considering the TV deals and the merchandise sales. And so they had to change. There was just no way in contemporary, workforce in this country we were going to continue to be able to allow that to slip through the cracks.
Well, I do think that there's part of this is I think that they would like it to be an agent of chaos because next month, I should say, they'll vote on the Protect College Football Act and all that stuff, and maybe that will bring some semblance of sanity. I've been talking to you about this about Ted Cruz on the podcast for a long time.
Yeah, there's some good aspects of this. There are some bad ones. And by the way, Democrats and Republicans agree on certain parts of it. So there, believe it or not, is in this world, in this day and age, bipartisan agreement on aspects of this, but they still don't know if they're going to be able to pass it.
Because listen, I love college football. I love the NFL. I love football. And I do think it's creating a worse product in the NFL. I don't like... Listen, I think that they should get paid, but I also think there should be an agreement to stay somewhere. Because I brought this up. I think that Jeremiah Smith is maybe the last beloved, and I mean by like one big fan base. Like, name a beloved Oklahoma. So Brian Bosworth, I bet, can go anywhere in Oklahoma and they buy him a drink or buy him a dinner, right? Okay? Yeah. And I'm sure you could bring up a bunch of guys right now in the state of Oklahoma who played for the Sooners, and they can do whatever they want. And I think probably the last guy, or one of the last guys, right off the top of my head, would probably be Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. And one was a transfer. Did Kyler Murray transfer there?
Yeah, from A&M.
That's right. That's where he went to. That's right. You have Jeremiah Smith, and Jeremiah Smith might be the last guy. If things don't change, he might be the last guy that's beloved by a fan base. By like Johnny Manziel has one fan base that will still take him in. And it'll be that way forever because they don't care about what happened afterwards. That was a great memory for those fans. Fine. Jeremiah Smith might be the last one. Like, now it has become so move around, transient, and it's not just about money. I think it's also about getting an opportunity, but also being able to stay in a place and find some of the best. Like, I do think that there should be some rules that are given. You fire a coach, I think it should make players free agents. A coach has to leave or something like that. He leaves. I think it can make players free agents. I think that there could be some tethers to that as well. But when you have the transfer portal that has led people to some bad decisions, or has actually, I think in turn, made them worse prospects for the pros, I think that has to be given. It's not about not paying him money. It's about an agreement to stay in a place where that can help you. Because, like, hey, man, like, I haven't seen the documentary yet. Is it out on Netflix about Vince Young and Jeff Fisher and that whole thing? I'm seeing clips, but I haven't seen the Netflix documentary yet. Like, Vince Young has messed up some things in life, and they have tried over and over and over again at Texas to, like, hey, you're Vince Young. We won a national championship together. You're beloved here. Like, you always get that chance. And you're running out of those spots. And I do think it will eventually have an effect on college football. And maybe Ohio State fans don't care because you're always going to bring him in. But I do think that overall there's going to be an effect there where it's like, why even bother falling in love with any of these players when they're not here from year to year to year?
Yeah, well, you won't. You won't fall in love with the players. It'll be cutthroat. You won't care about any of that. You're not going to fantasize or tell your grandkids about the days where you were at Mirror Lake and you walked by the starting quarterback and had a conversation, went to the gym and saw. That's just never happening again. These guys, they're siloed off. They're not going to be a part of the student body. They're barely taking classes at all, and if they are, they're not in person. So they're not real. I don't think of these guys anymore as being, especially the famous ones, the guys that are making the most NIL. You're not ever going to consider them real Ohio State, student body. This is not going to exist.
But if they're signed here, like you have, who's the wide receiver down at Big Walnut? Is it Big Walnut who got the NIL going in Ohio? And I think it's basically to keep him tethered to Ohio State to make sure he stays there, which is fine. If he signs a 3-year agreement to play for Ohio State, I think that has a better chance. If you have a 3-year thing and they do the 5-for-5 rule, and then that makes it a little bit more like, hey, we don't have this craziness here. We can get excited about recruiting. Because now, like, you've had recruiting stories before where it's like, wow, a guy he decided to stay in state. He wanted to go to Minnesota. That's incredible. And it's like, well, you're going to hold on to him for how long? Like Purdue, I mentioned Purdue.
Will the boosters,
you lose everybody there.
Will the boosters even want to commit to 3 years when coaches come and go, players fall out of favor, and then what? I'm the Browns all of a sudden. I'm paying guys 2 years after they're not even there.
But I think what we can find out is that maybe that coaches don't deserve as much as they've been getting. Do they?
Look, this is very important. We've seen this at the professional level. Like we're seeing it in the NBA and baseball, where they're trying to lowball the coaches big time. They're finding them to be interchangeable.
And if you have these players, and I have Jeremiah Smith for 3 years, and I have Julian Sain for 3 years, and I have the type of defense that I had over the last 3 years, like I'm not trying to belittle Ryan Day. Ryan Day does a fine job, but do you need to pay Ryan Day $12 million a season? Or can you pay Ryan Day $7 million a season and use that $5 million towards recruiting and keep guys here for 3 years?
Well, we've already seen players
and actually develop them instead of having them go all over the place.
Yeah, we've already seen players coaches kind of commit to that they are taking their last $1 million or $2 million and they're throwing it back just to be competitive. Of course, I think that's why a lot of them would be in favor of this act, because there needs to be some streamlining that goes on, because right now it is still the wild, wild west when it comes to all these finances. And I was listening on the Bill Simmons podcast, who's talking to the head coach of UCLA, Chesney. I'm not sure, I forgot his first name. He came up from
Bob.
And he was talking about how at the lower level, he had to do all that stuff because he didn't have a GM. And then it just came down to the agent going, how much? Can you get this number? And he's like, yeah, but look at what we're going to provide for the play. I don't care. What's the number? And that's what's happening at the highest level
because that's what
of college football. That literally is all they care about.
The agent's going to do whatever he wants. Like this is what gives Jeremiah Smith proper perspective. Now, I don't know what's true and what's not. But Jeremiah Smith, I look at him as like the last beloved college football player by a fan base. Because I would imagine he's been offered more by another team. It's believable.
He 100% said he was.
So he says it. I believe it because he's that great of a player.
Yeah.
He stays at Ohio State. Why does he stay at Ohio State? He can go anywhere. He can go to Oregon and get numbers. Honestly, he could. He can go to A&M and get numbers.
He'd
and
still
get
be
paid
in the same
by
spot
crazy
in
Texans.
the draft.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like he needs to stay at Ohio State with their coaching for him. By the way, his coach left. Brian Hartline left.
And the money is what keeps him with us. Well, with you guys, because I'm not an Ohio State fan. It's what keeps him. Oh, Freudian slip there. It's what keeps him with you, because it's not like the old days where it's like Jamar Chase is playing for quote unquote free. He has no reason to be around during COVID. He can go ahead and he can go on to the NFL. Well, Jeremiah Smith does have a agreement, and the money keeps him there, so he doesn't have a reason to sit there and deal with the insurance. He deals with insurance, but he doesn't have a reason to go. There's no reason you should say exactly. Like, you can do so many things and still stay playing for the university.
Yeah, I
also think it helps protect some of the mid majors as well.
It's going to train the fans. The fans will. It's already cutthroat for a lot of fans, but there were fans that kind of idolized the players. We always thought it was kind of weird, but they would be out there following these kids from high school, and I just don't think you're going to do that anymore. I just think, are they wearing the Ohio State jersey this year? Okay, they're my favorite player. Are they not the following year? No, I hate them now.
And that's what I think is bothersome to me, because I'm not thinking about 30-year-old guys who are big Jeremiah Smith fans. I'm thinking about Anthony when he was 10, or me a little bit later on when I was 7,
George.
8, 9. Eddie George, Orlando Pace.
Share Eddie George with 3 other schools?
Exactly. Cats and more. I mean, you can go down the list. I mean, good God, then when McKinley had it going, and you had Mike Doss and Kenny P and all those guys down there, like, it's fish in a barrel. It's fish in a barrel. And you don't get that anymore. And I know that's like, well, who cares? Boo-hoo. Well, yeah, the person cares, the kid cares, because that is supposed to be a lifelong allegiance to the university. And it makes it just winning without any sort of it's anonymous winning. It makes anonymous winning that much more important. But if you're not always winning, you got to have something to be able to latch on to.
And we have not. People like me 5 years ago, I'm sure you could find recordings of me saying this is going to really cripple college sports, and college basketball kind of has during the regular season. But you heard people like me sound off that this was going to do harm. It's done no harm so far to college sports. In fact, they're going to expand the playoff.
Yeah.
And I don't think they need to, but they will. There'll be more games. There'll be more money, new TV deals. And in the end, like, Ohio State's had how many quarterbacks over the last 15 years? Feels like 12. Okay? Has that impacted Ohio State fandom?
Not for the Ohio State fans I know.
Zero.
No.
Zero.
No.
So will there eventually be, maybe 20 years from now, I don't know, we'll see. If it becomes just total professional football at a lower level than the NFL, maybe that'll be the case. But I had to eat my words because people are still watching. They're not as invested in those players, but, maybe it is always supposed to be about the team anyway.
Listen, I do think that this was opened up and turned into the Wild West on purpose. I think that the NCAA kind of threw up their hands and go, you want it, you got it, because I think that they wanted to be asked to come back and provide regulation. And that's what's going on right now, is that a lot of people are going, this is crazy. We got guys going all over the place. Guys are going back from professional sports. It's like, you were in college for 6 years. Go get an effing job, or go up to Canada if you can't hack it. You don't need to be sitting there going up against 18-year-olds, for crying out loud. Like, people have become sick of it.
Throwing shade against Indiana for their national championship. Are you going to put an asterisk?
What I did. That's...
You're going to get Signetti on the phone?
That's a Ken Carman classic.
I mean, they did have a big edge.
Wait a minute. Did they take anybody back from the NFL? That's what I was saying.
I know, but it was funny.
Nasty ass.
They were way older than everybody else this year.
They were older. I mean, you did have a lot of family men on that team, man.
25-year-old offensive lineman.
Yeah, man. It's pretty true. I mean, Browns aren't going to draft you, but you're going to end up winning a national championship. We like to draft guys like David Njoku, who was 20. Get him young, get him in, that type of thing. That's what I meant. I do think it's playing right into the NCAA's hands. I think it is playing right into the politicos' hands, who do want some regulation. I don't think we're ever going back to not paying players. I don't think we really should, but I do think agreements can be in place, can be made. I think that if we could enforce the most arbitrary of NCAA rules, we could enforce the salary cap. We say we can't. If we were able to enforce rules on buying plane tickets for kids' funerals, or for parents' funerals, for the player to go back, and we were going after that for that, I think that we could probably get some bean counters in there and make sure everybody's in a standard salary cap depending on their conference. I do think it's healthier for everybody. But with what I see with Jeremiah Smith, and this was the whole leaping point of this conversation, what I see with Jeremiah Smith is something that's become more and more special because it's just so much more rare than we've ever seen in college football. I mean, not since a bygone era of the early 1900s. Coming up at 8:22 this morning, Mary Kay. Brady Quinn, 9:05. He was certainly committed to a university for a long time. Still is one of their favorite sons at that university. Brady Quinn going to join us at 9:05. Coming up in 5 minutes, just 5 minutes away, and about last night, your Guardians have won 7 in a row, and thank God, an out-of-touch luxury. What is this? What did he want me to say? John, what do you want me to say?
Let me see what I wrote.
Oh, my God. Just stay around for about last night because he gave me a word salad of what he wants me to tell you guys.
Luxury in the shoe.
All right, here we go. More Ohio State and 7 in a row for your Cleveland Guardians. Coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. Northeast Factor Direct at northeastfactordirect.com. All right, let me give you the straight stuff and no word salads here. Let me tell you about savings. Let me tell you about great quality and great furniture. Let me tell you about fall coming around. Now, it's going to get a little warm next week. I know that, but fall is on its way. And it's hot tub season at Northeast Factor Direct at northeastfactordirect.com. Swim spas, visit a showroom today. You're going to be blown away at the savings. Hot tubs, 2-person up to 8-person hot tubs. Maybe you got the whole block coming over for your hot tub party. You can do that.
estimate for your plumbing and electrical needs, or visit TriCountyElectricService.com.
Things are slow on the Intervale Bridge. In fact, things are so slow, the backups take you beyond 490 onto 71, and the delays on 71 take you all the way back to Pearl Road. Also, 77 northbound slow as you make your way towards I-90 eastbound downtown. Jeff Thomas, Odyssey Cleveland Traffic.
This is Browns head coach Todd Monken, and you're listening to the number one sports station in Cleveland, 92.3 The Fan.
So much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
I really don't give a shit. I mean, it had nothing to do with me. I mean, they moved the meeting. I didn't miss it. I was just trying to get a sweet haircut.
How it is when you win in Cleveland, man. They love you. When you lose, whew, it's the way it should be.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him, how he couldn't please his wife, and so now he's divorced.
That sounds really good, but I'm not 6'5", and I don't have the athletic ability to play in the NBA.
Now, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
The Guardians have tied a season-long win streak with 7 consecutive victories after their 4-3 win over the Angels, completing that sweep. LA was up 3-0 after 2, and they never scored again. You know, they only had 1 hit after the first inning? Ridiculous. Nathan Lowe's...
That's it?
Yeah, 1 hit. Nathan Lowe's RBI single in the 8th brought the Guardians within a run. Stephen Kwan tied the game in the 9th with a ground rule double, and Travis Bazzana gave the Guardians the lead with a sac fly. Eric Zabrowski shut the door in the 9th, and Joey Cantillo may have had the worst quality start ever. I saw that on Twitter a whole bunch with 1 strikeout to 7 walks, but he only allowed 2 earned runs over 6 innings, despite only throwing 50% of his pitches for strikes. Guys, Stephen Kwan, since the All-Star break, is 2nd in the American League in average, 4th lowest strikeout rate.
Never doubted
and
him.
he's 3rd in runs scored. What a turnaround.
Never doubted
He was
him.
hitting under 200 in June. Now he's hitting 270. His OPS is over 700. I mean, he's back to being Stephen Kwan.
It's actually
again.
amazing because had he have been doing better, but not at this rate, then maybe you actually would have traded him because you would have got something for him. Like, it's kind of funny. He had to be that bad for you to keep him. Then you keep him, and now he has had this insane stretch. And this is the type of stuff that does give you hope going into the postseason. Because a month ago, I'm like, what hope would you even have?
14 on that trip.
Holy
With
cow.
12 hits.
Give him the contract, man. Just
Well,
extend him.
somebody, and I forget who it was, they came up with several good
not 30
reasons why they were really never going to pay Stephen Kwan what he wants. Because not $30 million or anything like that. Like, the things that he does are just not what the Guardians would want to pay, which I
mean, it's easier to find replaceable guys at a lower level.
I guess. And that I don't know much about. Like, I see a guy, you need offense, you're getting offense. Now you need boppers, but again, are you paying a guy who doesn't hit a bunch of home runs? I don't know if they are.
Yeah.
So
It's obviously defensively dominant.
Yes,
He had
obviously.
a hit in 5 of 6 games on the trip, too.
Absolutely.
To start the game.
So I'd like to know from the Guardians' perspective what changed. They had all the numbers, and his bat speed was the worst in baseball for a while. Like, what happened to change things?
Well, I don't know. Is he getting a divorce because people were trying to admit that? Well, people were trying to blame that he got married on why he was slumping over the last year.
Yeah, things must be rocky at home.
When things aren't good, a lot of guys blame it on marriage. A lot.
Hope they reconcile in November, like mid-November.
Yeah, that's when they need to get on the right page.
Like I don't think that marriage was necessarily a bad thing for Stephen Kwan, but it's nice to see him playing so well. Are the Angels the worst organization in professional sports? Where do they rank? You could say, I know what a lot of people are thinking, guys.
Well, we wasted Myles Garrett. They wasted Mike Trout.
The Jets are definitely in there.
Now, I'm a nice person than this guy to my right. We've never been pulled into a room and told not to say a damn word. The Angels, they are well documented to be very, very sensitive.
Well, also, the Angels are objectively responsible for the death of Tyler Skaggs.
Right?
Well,
I mean,
he's
laughing.
That is well, I think he's it was one I didn't think about, John. I guess you're right about that. We move
you can't
on.
Just whoosh it and make it go away.
The Ohio State Buckeyes have installed new premium suites in the south end zone of the shoe. The suites hold up to 12 people and will cost almost $150,000. The general consensus among fans is that the view is absolutely horrendous for that price. The suites are also directly in front of the student section. The band has to move to a different end zone now, and they're not even done. They have to complete this in 9 days. Lima, as an alum, thoughts?
Yeah, well, Daryl wrote, I hate this for college football, putting the rich people in front of the students. But, from a symbolic nature, this just caps it off. Like, they've never put the students ahead of the donors, and now in this world where staying competitive quite literally comes down to how much money you spend.
Mm-hmm. You have to.
This is another revenue stream. They're going to tap themselves out fairly quickly if they keep having to do this with patches. I looked at this is not about the view, right? And they are moving the band, and you've never been to an Ohio State game, but you understand the Ohio State's band, Penn State's band.
It's
like
awesome.
these are important
Awesome
things
experience.
we'd like to preserve, but they're getting the boot, and they had to remove seats. So overall, yes, the fan experience will be worse for students. Those suites are not about the view. That is about their partners and the leadership in those partners and the clients of those partners. They want to have an experience at the shoe. It won't just be sitting in that suite. They'll probably get the tour. They'll walk around. They'll probably have buddies up in the suites, up in the club section too. So they'll just be able to go and swap them out at halftime. That's not about the view. This is more about, holy cow,
But
look
is
where
it
I
about
get to
the view,
be during
Tone?
the game.
Go ahead. What were you going to say, Owen?
I just don't. I'm looking at a different video from Chase Brown, who actually takes you inside. It looks like a microtel type thing, where you just have a front porch. So you just stand on the front porch of this little shanty.
A shanty.
$150,000 shanty.
Of which, there will be food and beverage. Somebody said, what?
They're not putting seats in there.
I can drink in a storage.
I bet there'll be couches and whatever. It'll be lounge.
there, but I'm talking about, in a suite that's in the club level, you've got seats in front of it that you
It's
can go out
no
and sit
different.
in, or
Honestly, it's no different from when the
Ken would know.
alumni.
He goes to a lot of suites.
It's no different. He does.
The king of the suites over here. Don't you say a
soundproof,
damn
apparently,
word.
where you can't hear people
Yeah, you
cheering
don't
a player
hear
get
cheering
injured.
at all there.
But you'll see, like,
Why'd he bring it up?
this is no different from the alumni that will be down there standing. And you know what? These guys want to be around that. They want to be around the alumni when they come back for the Michigan game or the huge Texas
They
game
want
when
the
it's here.
20 cameramen in front of them, too.
Well, that is going to be annoying, but the cameramen, I guarantee what they will enforce is they will get on their knees and they will be down the entire time.
And Brutus could come over to you at any point.
Yes, there will be no standing up or any of that because these guys paid more money than just about anybody.
It's fun. I think it's actually kind of cool. It does look like a giant storage unit.
It'd be a cool thing to do.
$150,000 piece.
Honestly, it'll be a cool thing. Well, who's paying for it, right? There will be one person in each of those suites that is technically paying for that or their business is paying for it. Everybody else will be freebies and come along for the ride. So they'll love it. They'll absolutely love that.
We're out of time, but the Pro Bowl has been abolished. Thank God. 88 players will earn the Pro Bowl selection, and now making a Pro Bowl actually means something. No more alternates, and you can actually utilize that.
Shinor's a Pro Bowler. What do you mean it doesn't mean anything?
Oh, well, the thing on the board's gone, so you can't mark it down anymore.
I'm glad it means something. I'm glad it has the chance to mean something again. And I will see how we feel about it coming up. Now, what's the difference between the Pro Bowl and
All-Pro?
All-Pro going to be?
No, All-Pro is legit.
I understand that. It is. It has been more legit, but it's also, if everything's just a vote, then
there's definitely been guys
you would just vote All-Pro.
There's been guys to make all the All-Pro team and not make the Pro Bowl. Brandon Graham did it in 2017.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
You're kidding.
Nope, that's serious.
Holy potato salad.
This
I
proves,
had no idea, brother.
I also had a theory. I know we got to go. This proves that the TV ratings they floated out every year were completely bogus.
Champions pose on you. Go ahead.
Because there's
Champions
no way
pose.
they would
He's
not
right.
they would not cancel this game if they really got 6.7 million people to watch in 2023.
Right.
No chance the TV networks would be okay with that, or Roger Goodell would be okay with that. So they made them up, and in 2026, it said 1.9 because they had a flag football event on a Tuesday. Right?
I watched it.
It just shows you those TV ratings were always trumped up, were never real.
He's right.
That's it for About Last Night.
Outstanding. Speaking of standing on sidelines, we have a interesting situation that might develop tonight. And are we shopping around Dylan Gabriel this evening? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, Mary Kay Cabot. She'll be with us at 8:20, but I want Tone to answer those questions coming up in 5 on The Fan.
thinks people around Cleveland like him. He genuinely thinks that everyone's just forgotten and we've just wiped away 4 years of bad football and all the off-field allegations and everything else.
I mean, it does make sense that the Browns and Deshaun have been a flawless marriage off the field because neither of them have any modicum of self-awareness.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Training camp coverage powered by Expert Renovations and Consumer Tire. 92.3 The Fan.
You see, we had yet another massive sports entity sale yesterday, Kenny.
Yeah.
The Seattle Seahawks.
You asked me if I wanted to bring it up, and I went, why?
$9.6 billion. Well, basically in every town, everybody I follow around the country, whatever their sport was, especially the ones that don't like their ownership, they're like, their team going to be for sale? Like if the Seahawks got 9, now the Browns are getting the Dome. So I don't know where that puts them with a brand new facility valuation-wise. I'm guessing, what was their valuation previously? Like 5?
Yeah, it was 5 something. We just had a new list come out.
But these raise them. Every time there's a sale, all the valuations go up, obviously. And now the Browns have more properties because of what they're doing in Berea and everything. You wonder when, and the same thing, we asked the same question about Dan Gilbert, when the NBA team started flying like crazy and like a third of the league's been sold in the last 5 years. Yeah. When does it make sense for you as an owner to at least pick up the phone? Because it's going to be fewer and fewer. The thing is, there's going to be fewer and fewer entities that can even buy these. And who knows? Will there be more oversight? Will there be more rules on who has a chance to buy these teams?
Are you talking about Dan Gilbert? Because there's always been talks about him.
Everybody.
Well, yeah, but you said that people were texting you about the Browns.
Yeah.
So you want to keep it to the Browns?
Whatever. Yeah,
because I'll tell you right now, I will be shocked. Well, I won't be shocked because I won't be anything. I think that how do I put it? I don't think you should be surprised if you're at my funeral someday and the Haslam's still on the Browns. I'm talking about natural life, not like Ken got hit by a bus, Ken choked on a sandwich,
and ate too many chili dogs on Friday night.
Like Ken somehow lived. I mean, my grandfather was a large man, and he lived till 89. So say I died when my grandpa died at 89, I think it'll still be in the family.
Now, Sportico.
Jimmy Haslam loves football, man.
Sure.
He loves it.
The one difference is the amount that they've invested, and I mean, they're still going to reap the benefits of it. They own everything around the property, right?
And I know he is considerably older than I am, but I think his family, his grandchildren may someday, but
I don't think you have your son-in-law help you run the organization if you plan on getting rid of it.
Yeah,
but Mark Cuban sold.
Triple H in the WWE.
Dan Schneider sold. He was a huge Redskins fan.
Well, he was
Commanders fan.
He was forced to sell.
Yeah, but
he was planning on selling before, though, and then he came back to facilitate the sale, and then all those other things happened.
Now, Sportico, and again, the valuations in the end, these are just numbers that come up from smart people that are in this world. They boosted up everybody's. I mean, this came out a few weeks ago. They had the Browns 21st in the NFL, but still at $8.6 billion. And it says a 1-year change of 40%. Why are there these 1-year changes? It's because of the NBA. The NBA teams all got sold for what they got sold for, so boosted up the value. And you just wonder, now the Browns are actually, the Haslams are more liquid than most owners because of, the Pilot Flying J sale. So you would say, hey, they don't need the money or anything, but you do wonder, they know what the sentiment is for them in this town.
This is going to be very tough to say. Well, yeah, but again, when they went to the playoffs in 2020, not in 2023, because people were thankful to Joe Flacco there. But in 2020, and you can probably go back to the recorder unless we don't have it anymore, there were people calling in thanking the guy, calling him the best owner in the city when they went to the playoffs. So it's all results-based, okay? Owners aren't meant to be liked. But without a shadow of a doubt, he's a football fan. The family is football people. They're football fans. No, I'd be shocked if you guys were at my funeral and they didn't own the team by then. Shocked.
I'm to the point where it's impossible to shock me on a sale of a team right now. After what just happened with the Lakers, what happened with the Celtics, what happened when Mark Cuban sold. Mark Cuban, who's like running the Mavericks, couldn't find a television camera he didn't like to talk about the Mavericks. He wanted to facilitate a change in how the officiating was done, in how they treated the player. Like when he sold, I'm like, man, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if anybody sold. Dan Gilbert tomorrow. I would, and Dan Gilbert's invested. He's got the global plaza,
he is a
medical
huge fan.
health, whatever
he is
it is.
A huge basketball fan.
Holy cow, the investment Dan Gilbert has made in Northeast Ohio. I just wouldn't be surprised now if anybody sold.
But I look at it and I say, don't you still want, like I get worried about the private equity. I get worried about the management corporations that come in and own them. I'm very worried about the groups because you can't, now that you're up to $12 billion for a franchise, you're finding very, 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 very few people that are them and their family that have $12 billion to $15 billion to buy a franchise. Like that's a wild scenario there. So I'd still rather have one person where the buck stops instead of just a bunch of nameless gray faces that look like they're sitting around a boardroom in the show Succession. Like I would hate that. And there's already organizations that have that. I mean, at least if you're driving around cussing out Jimmy Haslam, it's still one guy that's in charge of your favorite franchise. You're like, well, maybe he'll get lucky because he's still a football fan. Maybe that's it. But if it's just some dude in a suit that maybe comes in for a Sunday or two a year, yeah, you can have good people in charge, or you can just run it like a business and just not care about what any of your fans say. And that in turn is just worse for what we do. It's worse for the fans. It's worse for everybody. So I'd still rather have the classic sense. Like, yeah, man, you get guys who own sports franchises and they love their sport, and that's scary because they think they know that sport. And they find out very quickly it's a lot harder than they thought it was going to be, and they make very, very, very big mistakes. And you just hope they learn from those mistakes. But to have a boardroom of people, that's as cold and nasty as it could possibly be.
But which is funny because how are the Green Bay Packers run?
They're ran by a board of governors,
right.
But that's a publicly owned organization. A publicly owned organization is so different. Like you're never going to sell that.
It's weird. Yeah, I know. If you were to ask
the
Browns
Carman
fans,
group,
would you rather have the Packers set up or the Browns set up currently? You ran that. We wouldn't even want to run that poll right now because you would not like the results.
I'm sorry, I got a text while you were talking.
If you were to ask Browns fans right now and were to say, well, who would you rather have? Would you rather the Packers set up or the Browns set up?
Everybody's going to say the Packers set up.
But you here, if you would run a poll and say, would you want Jimmy Haslam or anybody else right now because they're losing? The fans would say that.
So that's what they would say.
Yeah, but you are different. You're saying no. I would take the Haslams over what I don't know. Kind of the devil you do versus the devil.
I'd rather take I guess I'd rather take the ones I know, and I like.
But it's funny. I said that about Lerner. When Lerner was selling, I'll never forget the show I was doing at the Hall of Fame. I said, be careful about the devil you know.
I said the same thing. I said the same. Like, as much as everybody wants the Dolans to sell, like, I don't know what David Blitzer and his team's going to come in and do. And everybody says, nah, he lets them run things. I really, really hope that's true because you kind of get used to things and how they are and how bad they can be or how good they can be, or anything of that nature, but I get nervous anytime anybody sells. Anytime. Like, I'd be terrified. It's going to happen, but I'd be terrified if Dan Gilbert or his sons or his family were to sell the franchise. Like, I'd be terrified of that because I don't know what's coming around the block. And Dan Gilbert and Dan Gilbert's son and his family have been the ones that have been like Cleveland, Detroit too, but they've been Midwest. We're building in Cleveland. This is in Cleveland. This is the way it goes. I don't want to turn that over to somebody who might not even live here, might not even live in the country, might not even have the best interest for the fans, because it's still a sport. It's still a business that's predicated on the love that the fans have for it. And if you take any of that away and you really make it just a cold, calculated business, that's going to make things even worse. It just makes everything bland, and I don't want blandness. I mean, at least if people are cussing out the owner, there's passion there. I don't want there to be no passion. Any passion.
Would a boardroom ever take Johnny Manziel? Would they ever vote? Would a private equity boardroom ever do that?
Are they interested in just selling jerseys?
I think they they would take a lot into consideration.
Boardrooms, that'd be one of the highest things they'd be.
So you think they would? So I was going opposite. I would say no way. There would be 3 guys that they would have conducted research on who Johnny Manziel is and vet out that player entirely.
A boardroom
and they would have said no chance in hell.
At the same time, aren't they there just to make money once we're at this point, right?
Did a boardroom approve of AOL Time Warner?
Losing football make them more money though? Would they look at it that way? Like I think there's no chance that a boardroom would have signed off on going and taking Johnny Manziel at 22nd overall.
I disagree.
So now you're not as mad at Jimmy Haslam then, it sounds like, for doing it.
I was mad.
I think that's revisionist history.
For meddling and taking
Remember,
him.
that was
Remember, that's what everybody said?
The night they took Johnny, I know that you do Champions Post on that one like I do Champions Post on you about Deshaun Watson. The night they took Johnny and the day after until Josh Gordon was found out that he wasn't going to play football that year, that was a massive party. That was a 24-hour party, and that was by everybody.
The boardroom's not going to make these decisions, right? Like, there's still going to be a chief figure.
Yeah, there always will be somebody that will be like the governor that will kind of have a little more say, but they gotta react to everybody. It's like reacting to your shareholders.
I didn't get the chance to. You brought this up. I didn't even get a chance to bring it up. We shopping Dylan Gabriel tonight?
Oh, if he plays really well.
Well, just in general, is this a showcase for Dylan Gabriel?
Yeah, they don't really have a place for him.
Yeah, but what about what Zach told us a couple of weeks ago that was an organizational decision to draft him?
And then they've seen him for a year. I think organizations could change their stance on somebody, can't they? You don't see Kevin Stefanski moving heaven and earth to get him in Atlanta.
But I thought for sure that it was like, hey, he's probably going to be on his way out of here, and I thought that definitely he'd be out by the end of the month, and he very could. But I still wonder, like, if Zach's saying what he's saying and saying that it was an organizational decision, are they really trying to shop him? I'd be relieved because I'm looking at Deshaun Watson. All right, we're not the biggest fans. We're looking at Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, I'm a fan of his, but I'm obviously pretty skeptical that he's going to be a successful NFL quarterback, so I've moved on to the 2027 class. And then I see Taylor Green, and I go, 6'6", big athlete. I can work with this. We can do something with this guy. And I'd like to at the end of the season, if worse comes to worse and things go the way that a lot of people think they're going to go, yeah, give him the month of December. Let's see how it goes if things go really that badly. Dylan Gabriel, I'm sorry. It was a non-fit. I really got nothing for you here, young man. Like, it would probably be best for everybody if they were showcasing him tonight.
And
it'd
really,
be best for him. It'd be best for us.
You can make the argument as a top 100 pick. Rarely do you see a guy get less of a chance than what he did. He wasn't even up for the job. Remember, he won some reps early on, but he wasn't even up for the starting job this year in a dreadful quarterback room. If he had a fan base like Shedeur's, they'd be playing the victim role even bigger.
9:05. It's Brady Quinn. He'll join us on the show. 9:01, your chance to win the VIP experience to Fan 15 coming up next Thursday night over at Dave & Buster's in Westlake. Coming up in 5 minutes. Well, are we showcasing Dylan Gabriel tonight? Mary Kay Cabot, she's going to answer that question and more next.
Anthony Lima.
not going to play. Dillon Gabriel goes at quarterback for the Browns. He'll be followed by Taylon Green. Browns and Patriots night right here on 92.3 The Fan. Kickoff set for 8 o'clock. And all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during this preseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Training camp coverage powered by Genesee Brewing Company. 92.3 The Fan.
We're bringing it up later. That's the weirdest thing you've ever said. Nah, that's not the weirdest thing you've ever said. It's the weirdest thing I've seen on the internet today. Mary Kay Cabot joins us right now. She ain't weird. She joins us on the Wise Heart Right, We Make a Right Call Kyle Right hotline. Mary Kay, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
Good. Are we showcasing Dillon Gabriel for a trade tonight? Go.
I wouldn't put it like that. I wouldn't say they're showcasing him, but if he plays well and a team decides they need another backup quarterback and they want to give the Browns an offer that they can't refuse, I'm sure they would be open to it.
See, this is where it rolls downhill because Lima will call it a tank, and I'll go, it's a year of evaluation. And then I go, are they showcasing Dillon Gabriel? And Mary Kay goes, well, if a team down the line were to do it. You see how it goes here, Mary Kay?
Well, not necessarily down the line. I mean, even at the roster cuts, even over the next week, if the team sees something that they like in Dillon and the Browns maybe even see someone somewhere else in the league that they feel like they could add to the team in place of Dillon, then, then we'll see what happens.
All right, well, here we are, Mary Kay. The quarterback competition has concluded, and we are curious why Shedeur isn't even playing tonight. That one, to me, if his operations are behind, if that's part of the edge Deshaun Watson has over him, and we'll go over that in a second here, but that surprised you at all that we're not seeing him tonight?
Well, I would have to say that I was mildly surprised that we're not seeing him tonight, but they've seen what they needed to see from Shedeur, and you need to keep your number one and your number two quarterback healthy if that's what you're deciding to do. If you're not using your starters, then you probably don't want to go with the guy that is one play away from starting a football game for you or going into the game for you. So it's not shocking. And then the other aspect of it is, yeah, they do want to see what Dillon can do, and it might not hurt if someone comes calling for him. So I'm not overly shocked by it. I do pretty much understand it.
It makes me feel like they're very concerned about their depth, the way they've handled this entire camp. And, I mean, you look at the depth chart, and it stands with good reason. Because that's the thing, like, I would like Shedeur Sanders to have more operation, but if he were hurt, then what do I got to do? Maybe I have to trade for somebody, and then I'm not able to recoup that. Like, it just seems like, hey, we might be able to add to the roster, but we're trying to do it without having to give up any sort of asset whatsoever that we need for the future.
Well, they have roster decisions to make, and they have QB roster decisions to make, and they have to decide if they are putting 4 on the roster right away, if they're going to try to do something with Dillon, what do they want to do with Taylon. So it's decision-making night on some of those kinds of guys, and we don't know for sure yet if Dillon is going to be on the roster, but I will say that I think that Todd Monken admires and appreciates Dillon Gabriel for how hard he works, for how he's always where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to be there, how he goes to the right place with the ball. Dillon does everything well. He doesn't do anything extraordinarily necessarily, except for, as we've always talked about, he's got great processing speed, and that has always been his sort of superpower in all of this. But I think that Todd Monken really appreciates the teammate that he's been and the employee that he's been for this football team. And that goes a long way. So we'll see where this ends up.
Mary Kay, there is a sentiment out there right now that this quarterback competition was rigged, that if it was a fair and balanced quarterback competition, that Shedeur Sanders would have won it. Do you agree?
Well, I'll tell you what. Todd Monken admitted for the first time this week that Deshaun Watson was ahead in the competition early on, and he said it was pretty obvious. Now, it was pretty obvious to me after the voluntary mini camp that Deshaun Watson was ahead, and that's because of his experience. He was able to go up to the line and know what he was seeing, know what he was doing. He was ready to operate this kind of a QB control offense. It's because Shedeur was still learning it. And then, as he mentioned, that Shedeur then made it a competition. But it was the first time that he admitted that Deshaun was obviously ahead in the competition. And so, no, I don't think it was rigged, but I think that all along the way that you could see that Deshaun Watson was ahead.
Mary Kay Cabot joining us here on the Wise Heart Right. We make a right call, Kyle Right hotline. Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick had a great breakdown of it earlier that we played on the show on his podcast with Andrew Whitworth. It just made a lot of sense. And I know that a lot of us have had trouble accepting that Deshaun Watson is a starter. Now, I've turned right around and I've said, I don't think it has to be such a nasty thing towards Shedeur. I don't think it really has to be even a nasty thing towards Deshaun Watson because all he has to do is go out there and play well. I just don't think he's going to play very well. So what are they doing to catch Shedeur Sanders up and to make sure that he is good operationally if he's not able to play, if he's not going to play in this game tonight, and we're not going to be able to give him the first team reps because we're getting ready for a season now? How are they going to get him caught up? Because I think a lot of people believe, not just myself, that we're probably going to break the glass on him very early and probably in the month of September.
Well, he's just going to have to do the things that every single backup quarterback has to do to get ready to play football. He's got to be in that playbook. He's got to be studying. When he does get those reps, when he gets the scout team reps, he's got to be on point with those, and there will be some carryover with what the Browns do, so he'll be able to do that. Then he's going to have to work a little bit overtime with receivers and whatnot when he can after practice, grab some things here and there. A lot of it will be classroom work and studying, and it gives him time to assimilate this brand new offense. It's not like he was going to be building on what he did last year. He had to learn this offense all over again, something brand new. And sometimes that can take a little while. And I think the thing that people do need to remember, and I listened to Fitz, and I thought that was a really great breakdown. Todd Monken is not going to do anything other than try to devise a game plan for the player that he believes will give him the best chance to win in Jacksonville. And he feels that putting everything into the hopper, that was Deshaun Watson. And when you look at the operation of the entire thing, that's what it comes down to. Now, I will say that having said all of that, even though Deshaun Watson is ahead in the operational realm, I think he really is going to need to work hard over the next 3 weeks to find more completions, to develop timing with guys like Harold Fannin, who missed the whole entire offseason because he had surgery. I don't think he's got the same kind of timing with the receivers that Shedeur does. Shedeur spent all of last year throwing to all of these guys, so he has some natural built-in chemistry already with some of these guys, even, Isaiah Bond and some of the guys that were here last year, Harold Fannin. So I think Deshaun is behind in that regard, and I think he's going to have to work really, really hard to catch up.
All right, Mary Kay, when it boils down to how we talk about these quarterbacks, I do notice that the Shedeur fans are telling us now, they're instructing us not to talk about their favorite player anymore. Did you get the memo on that? It seemed to be pretty choreographed from that fan base that we are no longer permitted to talk about Shedeur. I don't know did you get that in your email box or your social media?
Well, of course, I see all of those things, and it has been a very interesting experience to try to cover this whole thing with all of the dynamics that go on, shall we say. But I understand it. It's a passionate fan base. They're very, very passionate. And I do think that if you just look at it at face value and you look at some of the throws that we've seen on these clips and everything, you would be like, wait a minute, why isn't Shedeur starting? I mean, even when you look at the last game, you cannot judge a quarterback competition on the Bills game. I mean, you just can't. You can't say, oh, this was the final piece of the puzzle and Shedeur won it and he didn't get the job. That game did not mean all that much in the evaluation of these two quarterbacks. It's backups against backups. I mean, it was a very small piece of the pie here. So you have to look at the whole entire picture, and I understand that is very, very hard to do. And I do believe that when Shedeur puts it all together, that it's going to look really good. And I think he's going to go out there, and I think he's going to play good football. But right now, I think fans need to trust that Todd knows what he was seeing on the field, in the classroom, in the meeting rooms, and maybe just right now in this moment, he just needs a little bit more time.
All right. You know I consider you a close friend, right?
Right.
All right, I got to push back because I can't just look at it like that. I can't be backups versus backups here. I got a guy who was supposed to be a franchise quarterback, all the money, all the picks, and he's playing with third-teamers, but he's throwing picks to third-teamers. And I can't tell Browns fans just to accept him being a starter, where to I think a lot of to the vast majority of Browns fans, he represents a lost era of football, where we started this whole process in 2016, meticulously going through losses, going through a lot of struggle, going through firings, going through agitation to put together a team that had legitimate all-pros on that football team. I almost said Pro Bowlers. That doesn't even count anymore. Legitimate all-pros on this team, good players on this team, and it immediately went to pot because of that. And then he's supposed to be out there still trying to resurrect his career, and he's throwing picks to guys who are going to be pros at something else other than football here. I can't respond positively to that. I'm a Browns fan. I want him to do well, and I'm looking at a guy who just represents something that's lost on this franchise. And what could have been that we messed up?
Well, I think it remains to be seen. Let's see what happens. When I went out and watched practice the next couple of days, they were using Deshaun's legs. They were trying to take advantage of some of the things that he is doing well right now. I think from a game management standpoint, that's what this is all about. I think Todd is looking at it and saying, I need somebody that can get in and out of the huddle very quickly, that can use multiple cadences, that can maybe try not to turn the ball over, although we'll see how that goes. I mean, he has had problems with that, obviously, throughout this whole entire training camp. So he's got to shore that up. They've got to find completions for him, and he's got to find completions for himself. And I don't think that's where it needs to be right now. But I think this says something about where Shedeur is in his development in this new offense at this moment. If he were 100% ready to go out there and do all of those things right now, then Todd would have put him out there. Mike Bajakian, the quarterback's coach, would have put him out there. And there will come a time, Todd even said this week, that there will come a time. We're seeing him come up the learning curve very, very quickly. But they have to think about week one in a loud stadium using silent count and managing an operation where you've got 5 new offensive linemen working together for the very first time, 2 new rookie receivers who are not always going to get lined up where they are supposed to, motions, all of those kinds of things. And he picked the guy who's done the QB control offense before for many years for this football game. And then he's saying that it's not week to week, but I think it somewhere in the dark recesses of his mind, he knows it's kind of has to be week to week. Mm-hmm. Because if Deshaun goes out there and can't cut it, then you have to pivot. So I think everybody knows that is the case. But for this game, trying to go out there and operate this offense the way that it needs to be operated, he felt Deshaun was more ready.
I mean, I can't call him a liar. I wouldn't, because he says it's not week to week. We got a whole month until week 3. So, I mean, that's not week to week. That's maybe month to month if you wanted to do it like that.
But Mary Kay, did Deshaun Watson do irreparable harm with his comments, the way he approached that press conference, in addition to how he played in that game? Or does he truly acknowledge that what he said was not very smart?
Well, once again, first of all, the way he played in that game, I mean, I just think there's being way too much made about a third quarter coming off the bench appearance when you're behind in a football game, and I just think too much is being made out of a third quarter game against Bills backups with Browns backups. I think you need to throw that out the window for the most part. I mean, this was not, hey, let's see who plays better in the Bills game and make our decision. It was not that. But yes, I do think that he did plenty of harm with that press conference, and that now he's got to do whatever he possibly can to try to change the narrative and flip the script. Not everybody hated him when he came out of the locker room in Baltimore in 2023, went 14 for 14, and beat the Ravens on the road. People didn't hate him then. And after the Bears game, I started to see people think, maybe he can go out there and get the job done. People want good football. And here's one other thing to remember. Dylan Gabriel got booed at the stadium last year because he wasn't Shedeur Sanders. So it's not just personal against Deshaun. It's very much a we love Shedeur phenomenon that's going on here, too. It would be the same thing for Dylan. If they start Dylan in the Carolina game, he's going to get booed. I mean, you guys know it. It's not just about the quarterback. It's about Shedeur as well. So hopefully for fans, they'll get an opportunity to see Shedeur play this year. Hopefully Shedeur and the Browns, he'll go out and he'll play very, very well. But he does need to be ready. And again, I think he will be at some point fairly soon.
I still think they were booing Kevin when Dylan came out, but my track record with interpreting boos has not been very good here over these last few years, so I'm going to have to reevaluate myself, Mary Kay. Can I ask you, let me ask you a question about Jerry Jeudy. Is he safe?
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy's safe, yes.
Okay.
But once again, I think that Jerry and Deshaun, they are really going to need to rep it over and over and over because the connection is not good enough in practice. And quite frankly, the connection between Deshaun and a number of those guys is not good enough yet. And now you've got Isaiah Bond, who's in the concussion protocol, and hopefully for everyone, he'll get out of there soon because they've got 3 weeks to get their act together. And I do think that I know they had to do it. I know Todd has explained over and over and over why they had to do this quarterback competition, but it didn't help whoever was going to be the starter. It didn't help Deshaun especially because he was already rusty. He's already been out of football for 2 years. And now he's going to be trying to show that he's got with guys that he is just learning their nuances and their tendencies. And so I think he is behind the 8 ball a little bit, and they're all just going to have to deal with that very quickly.
Mary Kay, thank you very much for the time. Wonderful as always. We will talk to you again next week. Thank you.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
Mary Kay Cabot on the Wise Heart Right, We Make a Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. All right, you heard me during the interview. Obviously, I have thoughts to all that. They're coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Jeff Thomas, Odyssey Cleveland traffic.
92.3 The Fan has the most local sports talk in town, and you can be a part of it anytime you want. Weigh in on X at 92.3 The Fan and see our hosts make your reaction a part of our shows. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Talk sports deep into the Cleveland night. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
You cannot judge a quarterback competition on the Bills game. You can't say, oh, this was the final piece of the puzzle and Shedeur won it and he didn't get the job. That game did not mean all that much in the evaluation of these two quarterbacks. It's backups against backups. It was a very small piece of the pie here. You have to look at the whole entire picture, and I understand that is very, very hard to do. And I do believe that when Shedeur puts it all together, that it's going to look really good.
So I had to push back a little bit during the interview with Mary Kay. We have Brady Quinn coming up at 9:05. But you're saying it's backups against backups. Well, if your intention was to make him the starter and then if your intention was to make him the starter and we're not supposed to look at the Bills game, you had every excuse to not put him out there. Like, I remember Camino and I went back and forth about this. And it wasn't out of argument. It was not an argument. I just thought, hey, he hasn't played in over 600 days. He needs work. Then thunderstorms happened. And all that stuff went down. And it's like you had every excuse to go, you know what? Not great conditions for it. It's been done before. Like, there have been preseason thunderstorms before where they're like, hey, we're going to play somebody and we ain't going to play them. It's happened in Cleveland. It's happened everywhere. That is not a new thing. You can go look that up. You had every reason to go, yeah, you know what? We're going to put Dylan Gabriel out there. And you know what? How about Taylor Green gets a little bit of a opportunity here against the Buffalo Bills? You could have done that. Did we just not want anybody to think that it was already done? Did we want to make sure that we were having a fair and balanced quarterback competition? Is that what we were worried about? I thought we didn't care about what the fans thought. I thought we didn't care about what bots and burners thought on the internet. What are we doing? So he's out there. He's playing with third-teamers. He's also supposed to elevate the play of people around him. That's what you traded for. And since he's still out there, people are going to judge him like that. He ain't the quarterback you traded for. At the time, he wasn't even the quarterback that you traded for. You got a lemon. All right?
I wish I would have known that
I tried
at
to tell
the time. You knew he'd be this bad?
I didn't think he'd be this bad, but I didn't think it was going to be good.
I think this is unprecedented. A drop in talent to this level.
You're throwing interceptions to guys who are going to be in the UFL. Hello? Not nuts?
I wonder if he said anything to Todd like, are we sure I'm going to be out here? Like, because you know that is, especially after Shedeur played well, and I know you want your starting quarterback to be mentally adept to be able to handle that, but you know for a fact, like after that delay, like I was texting people that morning, I'm like, oh, he's probably not going to play, is he? And I couldn't get any real read because nobody knew what the Browns were going to do. And when he went out there, I do wonder, like, we talk about a fall from grace. I mean, this is a guy who was playing for national championships, who was in the Heisman running 2 straight years and was invited to New York, then lit up the NFL. I mean, lit up the NFL immediately coming into the league and was considered by some to be a top 5 quarterback. And now he's going out there with a rain delay in the second half of a game that means nothing. You're getting throttled anyway. The field is damp. And you're going to go out there and play with guys you're never going to actually play with once the season starts. Like that is something you probably could have opted out of. Wouldn't have looked good. Wouldn't have looked good at all. Like, especially if they found out it was you asking out. But I do wonder if there was a conversation had at all there. Because when have we ever seen a starting quarterback play in those circumstances anyway?
It'll be okay. It'll be okay against Jacksonville. I mean, he'll be playing with the ones.
It'll be too humid. The ball might get wet. Be nervous.
Oh, wait. He'll be playing against ones in Jacksonville. I forgot. So if the threes are picking him off. But maybe he'll just magically be able to wake up the echoes of what he was in Houston.
So this is where you do disagree with Mary Kay. Because Mary Kay's saying, why are you guys putting stock into preseason football that is there's no scheme?
Because your fans...
Todd Monken didn't come up with a playbook. Like, he was just like, go out there, run the ball. They ran the ball on first and second down in the first 2 drives.
Because if nobody's running a defense, that it should be even easier.
But that's what I'm saying.
We're going to go to the regular season, and they're going to drop robbers in there and cover 1. Am I nuts? Am I nuts? Like, I feel, what's that movie where Willem Dafoe kind of looks around like, what the hell is going on here?
But you even had agreed that they were just trying to get out of Dodge. They ran the ball on first and second down.
You should have just ran the ball on third down.
Honestly,
what? You shouldn't have put them out there. There you go. Is it that hard to talk about that? Is it that hard to recognize that?
We are. There's no doubt. You have to agree that in Cleveland, we are putting stock in things that no one else is putting stock in, meaning a tracker that shows completion percentage in camp. When a lot of these, Todd Monken's like, that was not the right read. That wasn't a good throw.
Of course.
That was a wobbler. That would be dangerous in a real game.
About this entire thing.
Quarterback would have gotten sacked.
Thing so ridiculous.
He drifted there. We've coached against it. That's not a good rep. It's going in the tracker as a good rep, but it's not.
Then I'm getting texts. You don't know your ass from a hole in the ground if you're ripping the quarterback tracker. You say they really do that. No, they don't. No, they don't. No coach does that. No coach does it. Okay? No, they don't do it. We propagate the whole thing. You want to put it on the media? Fine. Put it on the media. I'm part of the media. I didn't want to do any of that crap. You didn't want to do any of that crap, but I'm only going to speak for myself. You want to throw it on the media? Fine. Because this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now I got to pick and choose when to judge and when not to judge. Why? Judge the whole thing. Judge the whole thing. And by the way, when Shedeur goes out there, because he will, because it's not a week-to-week thing. It's about a month. When he goes out there, judge that. Judge away. I won't make any excuses. I won't. I'll just look at it and go, yeah, well, how did C.J. Carr do yesterday? That's what I'll do. But this is ridiculous. You didn't have any reason to put him out there if you didn't want to put him out there. You're the coach of the football team.
Is this the first huge criticism you've had for the coaching staff and Todd Monken?
I suppose it is.
Put it on record, Owen. We've got a major criticism.
August 27th.
We got it. Carman, the gloves have come off.
Wait a minute.
Coach, you are on notice.
No, don't be like
Ken
that.
Ken says you don't know what you're doing.
First off, no, I didn't say that. Okay? I just need answers. And by the way, you can go back a couple of days ago because I still don't understand why you're not going to play Shedeur Sanders when you tell me everything's operational. What helps operations the most? Playing football helps operations the most. So why isn't he playing? Is he next man up? He is next man up. So you see, you mess with people's psyches and emotions when you say he's the next man up, but we're not going to play him?
Why wouldn't you give him 2 series or a quarter? Mary Kay says injury, but
it's insane.
We can't protect when you have this quarterback room. Are we really invested in protecting these guys?
No,
to that extent. This isn't Josh Allen. It's not Patrick Mahomes.
Listen, I can't coach everybody to injury. This is part of the reason. Like I've had to answer some emails. And they're going, Ken, this could be a 9 or 10 win team. And I go, I'm glad that you believe that. We need people to believe that. And I hope you're right. I'm not going to pray for it because there's definitely more important things to pray for. But I hope that you're right. But we're keeping guys out for precautions that are big names on this team. We're searching for edge rushers, and then Alex Wright goes down, who's a great guy and a good football player. So that lets you know what's going on. I mean, it's all written there. So I guess if you wanted to hold everybody out for precaution, that's fine. But then again, you put your starting quarterback out there in the third quarter. I'm not supposed to judge that. I have to judge that. And say what you want to, but Kevin famously had the rant played when I ripped him for Dorian Thompson-Robinson being out there on about a half-hour notice against the Baltimore Ravens. So criticism's criticism. They're big boys. They get paid for it. They can take it. Because I don't think anybody can look at this and make real logical sense of it without leaving gaping holes behind the sentences they just said. It's an impossible thing to do right now. Coming up in 5 minutes. Actually, just 9:05. 9:05, we want to give them a little bit of time. Brady Quinn going to join us on the show. Big noon kickoff. NFL college football analyst on Fox Sports Radio. Awesome guest to have on. Love him coming on at 9:05. 9:01, your chance to go to Fan 15 with the VIP experience, okay? You must be hanging on our every word or you shall be lost. It's all coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan.
The Fan from earlier today? Of course you do. Get over to 923thefan.com or favorite 923 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 923 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Sign up to be a part of the Fan Club. Download the free Odyssey app and follow 923 The Fan to get all of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 923thefan.com.
Connie time. VIP access to the Fan 15 celebration September 3rd. Dave & Buster's, including a pair of reserve seats, buffet dinner, and a pair of power cards. Enter the word SUPER, SUPER, by the end of the hour. 923thefan.com to get registered to win.
There you go. Brady Quinn coming up in 2 minutes. Let me sneak one in here. We got Patrick and Hudson. Congratulations on all your success. You're next up on the Fan. Patrick, go ahead.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Hi.
I love the show. Really just wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. I'm just curious, what does Deshaun have to do in week 1 for you to feel confident in him going into week 2?
Miss the bus.
I mean, if he plays well, and conjures up some of the old, I don't think he can throw the ball down the field nearly like he used to, but if he is effective in the running game and making life easier on Quinshon Judkins, if you want a real answer, I mean that would start the process. That's one game, so I'm not going to assume that we're hearkening back to the old Watson days, but it would show me that Monken could devise an offense for him.
Yeah, right. And,
honestly, you talking about confidence? I'm just asking him to eliminate turnovers. Basically everything Lima just said, in all seriousness.
Yeah, right.
Not asking for the world here.
Fellas, I can't wait for week 1. Hoping for a win. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Patrick. You as well, my friend.
He had a throw yesterday that Coach Riz was dissecting, and I agree with Coach Riz. I'm like, all right, that was a nice throw down by the goal line over the middle that was in traffic, but he put it where only his guy could get it. It still got broken up and went off the hands of whoever it was. It was a tight end or whatever. And yet, Coach Riz put that out there, and it was 100 people going, are you kidding me? This is a turnover-worthy throw. It's a bad throw. And I'm like, man, only in Cleveland are we doing this right now. And by the way, we did it for Shedeur, too. We're all guilty of it because it's a quarterback competition. But now the competition's over. So I think we have to sometimes admit, like, hey, not every throw Deshaun Watson makes is a bad throw. Like the one a couple days ago where he went down the sidelines and the receiver was not even in the picture. And it's like, well, there was a communication issue. That wasn't necessarily a bad throw.
You mean the Deshaun Watson one that went skipping towards the window? Or the
one that came towards...
You're talking about Watson.
Yeah, Watson.
Yeah.
Did I say Shedeur? Sorry, Watson, yeah.
Yeah, no,
and I'm like,
was a miscommunication. I wasn't nasty about that.
That might have been on Watson. You have to ask Todd Monken, so maybe he's still guilty. But it wasn't because it was some hellaciously bad throw.
Did he say the wrong? Did he give the wrong route tree?
It could be on him, but I'm not going to just jump to the conclusion that every throw is bad, every read is bad.
No,
well, guys, we're going to get a regular season game or two to see that stuff. We don't have to keep doing this. That is one thing I think we can bury now. We don't have to overanalyze that stuff now.
216-474-0092. Coming up momentarily, Brady Quinn.
Quite frankly, I hope we don't ever have to do that again. But now it's just a part of Cleveland training camp now, which means if we do draft Arch Manning, I think every throw is going to be scrutinized, and that does not make life easy.
Oh, you better bet your ass.
Which is not good. That's not good. Sometimes anonymity is better. If Arch Manning were to go to a city where they're not doing that, I think that would do that young guy a favor. But we're not going to do that.
Too
we're
bad.
already right. Too
if
bad.
If he has a good season,
but admit it, you're making life harder on these guys.
You are, and that's why
I wish we could. Honestly,
that's why I'm not cutting Deshaun Watson now, because whoever I take, I want to make life a little. I want to make life a little easier and have some of that money to use towards some of these guys who could possibly help him.
I think that stuff is toxic, and I think overanalyzing every throw is going to be toxic.
But
if Ken, you're saying tough. Welcome to the big leagues, but this isn't happening everywhere.
But I think it's going to. I think with a guy like Arch Manning, I think if he takes over with the Jets, he takes over with the Cardinals, he takes over with the Cleveland Browns, it's going to happen. He is a polarizing quarterback. There are a lot of truthers out there. There are a lot of people who haven't even seen him play or didn't even see him play in high school, for crying out loud. They think he is a creation of the last name. They believe that he is a creation of the family. which, okay, if he doesn't tickle your fancy, that's why they make such a big deal about this draft class. You got Dante Moore out there. Now, they won't do it for Dante Moore like they do it for Arch Manning, but it's going to be part of the job. So if they get the number 1 overall pick and the Manning family is amenable to it, because obviously there's a history there, then, yeah, man, you better get ready to pack your bags and fight this fight all over again. The only difference is there will be no competition. I mean, you might have a starter start things out. You might have a veteran. You might get Jameis Winston back or someone like that. But you're going to fight that fight. And then with whatever's left, you're going to have that afterwards. Because the other guys are going to be gone, and whatever fans that are actually real after they're gone, well, they'll be judging every single throw he has in camp. Let's go to the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, former Browns quarterback, current Fox college football analyst, NFL analyst. He's on Big Noon Kickoff. Brady Quinn joins us on the show this morning. Brady, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. How's everyone doing today?
Doing well. Did you think that we heard Ryan Fitzpatrick about it earlier today? I want to hear it from you, or your opinion, I should say. Do you think that Deshaun Watson won the quarterback competition for the Browns fair and square?
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we probably see 10 to 20% of what really is going on, right? Like, we're not able to be there for all the practices. We're not able to see everything exactly as it is from the coaching staff standpoint. So does the contract play a role? Of course it does. But at the same time, there's still a lot that we're not privy to that the coaching staff and the locker room is. And, one of the things that sometimes gets overlooked, especially from people on the outside, is there's always going to be hype and excitement about the next guy, the next quarterback. But there is this sense amongst veterans, and especially guys who've been in the league, that you want a guy behind center who's going to do everything the right way, who's got experience, who's been through it, and can come in and execute the game plan to the best of his ability. Now, that doesn't mean that the best of his ability is as good as maybe the next guy, but if the younger player isn't as far along, and I think that's the part that we're really all not in on. All we get to do is see some of the snaps that we see through practice or someone charting it, which, again, I always hate that, because I remember a time when I was in Seattle and, usually on bootlegs, like, you never throw the backside post. And Pete Carroll challenged the quarterbacks, and he goes, hey, I want you guys to try to make our defense play honest. And if there's a boot, and if you can, buy time, figure out a way of throwing the backside post. I mean, usually it's, it's your flat, it's your crosser, it's your comeback. That's somewhere in there is your progression. The backside post is just to hold that backside safety from cutting the crosser. Well, the reality is we'd be throwing it up at times, and sometimes we get picked, sometimes we go incomplete. And when people are charting that, they're like, oh, what was he doing there? It's like, well, we're trying to work on something not only for us to see if we can do it, but also for our defense. So it's just an example of things that go on that everyone on the outside is not always privy to, but they see the box score. But I do think, going back to the veteran point, like, there's veterans who might be looking at it saying, like, hey, man, like, I just feel more confident with this guy going in there and being able to do the job. Where Shedeur, who got playing time last year but is now in a new system, he's in year 2, and just isn't as experienced. So do I think he won it fair and square? Sure, but I'm kind of really not sure what we're basing that off of. If it's just based off the 10, 20% we've seen, I don't know that there's a huge difference between the two players based on what we've seen so far.
Brady Quinn, I love that breakdown, because we were just discussing. It's like you listen to the whole conversation about us charting throws and doing it almost kind of muddies it up for everybody involved. So we're sitting here wondering if there is any offense that Todd Monken can devise with a quarterback that just, quite frankly, speaking of Watson, can't really throw the ball down the field like he used to earlier in his days. And we've seen already there's been more RPO stuff. Looks like he's going to be using his legs. They're not as worried about protecting him. Do you think that has a chance to be functional with Todd Monken, considering where Todd was coming from?
Yes, I actually love Todd Monken as a play caller. I've said this, when Todd Monken took the job, I felt like this gives Deshaun Watson the best chance to have a shot at getting back to where he was in the NFL and making this work. Now, look, I was never a fan of how it all came about, whether it was the trade for him, given everything else he had, the decision, the contract, everything. I mean, literally, and even the pairing with Kevin Stefanski, it never made sense for Kevin Stefanski's offense, what he liked to do, and where Deshaun Watson had excelled previously in college and in Houston. So now, you look at this situation, Todd Monken can build an offense that really plays to the strengths of Deshaun Watson. Now it's just about his ability to execute. And as far as his arm strength, the downfield throwing, I don't know that I'm buying into that yet. I think we've seen some examples, but like one thing I would say to you is, as a quarterback, when you're in your first year with a system and you're not throwing the football as decisive and as confident as you will be later on in the year once you've got more reps of the system, right? You're not splitting up reps for a quarterback competition. The ball's going to look like it's coming out stronger. The ball's going to look like it's going downfield further. It's getting to places faster. And that's just a byproduct of being more confident in what you're running, what you're being asked to run, and executing it. So that's something that to keep an eye on moving forward. If Deshaun Watson is still the starting quarterback as the season goes on and is playing well, I don't have quite as many reservations about the arm strength, because I think there is a small piece of that actually has to do with the offense being new to him and that he's running right now.
Brady Quinn joining us on the show. How hard is it to install a new offense with a quarterback room that's seen as one of the not so good ones in the NFL? And you can tell I'm being nice.
Well, I think the hard part about installing an offense, at least, and this is just my opinion, is you need to install an offense that plays to the strengths of the players you have around you. So it's not, to me, when I hear people, they're installing their system, it's like, well, that system better be like, hey, what does Deshaun do well when he's in? What does Shedeur do well when they're in? They're not the same quarterback. Deshaun used to be a bit more fleet of foot. I think he still has a lot of that, to his game, and you can add that as a portion of his ability to run in the game. Shedeur was never that during his time at Colorado. Now, he's a capable runner, but I don't know that I'm diagramming up any zone reads or anything that's going to be involving the quarterback keeping the football in the run game if he's in the game. I'm going to kind of develop more downfield plays and shots, things that he likes to do. So in saying that, I think they can, again, build this offense around both these guys, but it should look different depending on who's in at quarterback. It shouldn't look like the same exact thing, trying to fit both these guys into one system. And then again, that's why I think with Todd Monken implementing more RPOs, implementing more things that if you go back through Deshaun Watson's time at Houston or even back to college, like he had back in those days, and it allowed him to be a successful quarterback. And I do think you're going to see some of those elements in their offense this season.
Brady Quinn joining us on the show, former Browns quarterback, current analyst, Fox Sports. He's on Big Noon Kickoff, doing a hell of a job. Did you see Deshaun Watson's or hear Deshaun Watson's comments in the postgame from Saturday?
Yeah, and it was frustrating to hear, as a former Browns quarterback, as, a guy who grew up loving the Browns, still do, because it just lacked any sort of self-awareness. It lacked any sort of the fact that, hey, man, you've been paid a lot of money. And I understand that you're frustrated that maybe people cheered when you got hurt, but you know the job, right? You know the job you signed up for. And it doesn't, when you're playing bad, and you get booed off the field and they put the next guy in there cheering for him, it's kind of the same thing. And I understand people, they get frustrated because players always feel like that when they're out there that, fans need to be more respectful about injuries and so forth. That's part of the game. And this is all about performance. So, in a way, I understand what he was trying to say. He's taking out his frustrations in a moment when he was vulnerable, and he's obviously had a lot of time to think about it and kind of in that moment kind of unleashed maybe some emotions. But he also has to understand, this is a fan base that's dying for a winner. You were brought in with the expectation to be that. You were brought in with the expectation with that contract to be there for the long haul. And he hasn't been there often, and he hasn't been good when he has been in. So it's as simple as that. It's not personal. It's just business. And that's the reality is these fans are paying their hard-earned money to come watch a product on the field, and they want to see you perform. And so, again, from the, however many $1,000 diamond earrings he's putting on and a watch and everything else, as he's sitting up there saying this, it's hard for Browns fans to absorb that, and really anyone else for that matter. Look, that apology is fine, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who kind of came away saying, look, man, you're going to be our starter, and you need to go up there and say something because this isn't going to be good. We got a couple weeks away from home, but when we come back, if you're still the guy, you're going to get booed again, especially if you don't play well. So yeah. I'm sure that was part of the motivation with the apology.
All right. I know we're short on time with Brady Quinn. I want to get this in there. I know you've been a backup in the NFL, and that could be a tough spot to just come in and be ready. So that's Shedeur's situation now. Now, I'm guessing you didn't have people in your inner circle threatening media members and going on social media campaigns, but that seems to be the case with Shedeur. How would you advise him to behave during this process? There's going to be media trying to stick microphones in he's so quotable and he gives these great quotes. How would you advise him to act during this period?
Just try to be seldom seen, And everything that he does say is always in preparation for the team, helping them win, helping Deshaun do the best he can do. I mean, that's the thing is you don't want to be a distraction. And obviously the quarterback competition in general is always a distraction, especially as one like this that might bleed into the season. So you just got to do all you can to try to be a guy that's helping the team and allow, really allow yourself to operate the way you would want a backup to operate if you're the guy. Because if that transition does happen, you don't want Deshaun to be a distraction to you. And you want him to be helpful to you, and you want him to be helpful in helping your defense prepare, running scout team and all that. So, it sounds like something you tell your kids, but it's true. Like, treat the situation when you're a backup like you would want your backup to treat you once you're the starter. And he's got to prepare himself to be the starter one day.
Brady Quinn, you know him. Great analyst, also the founder of the Third and Goal Foundation, the number 3andg.org. Making a difference in the lives of veterans in need. Check that out. He is the founder of that organization. Brady, thank you very much for the time. Looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Go Browns.
Brady Quinn, Fox Sports college football analyst, NFL analyst, big noon kickoff. I was a little bit surprised by that answer about Deshaun Watson. Gotta tell you. Because that's a guy who's been booed. That's a guy who's been booed in Cleveland. And has no quarter. It's like, yeah, that's what you get paid the money for. Strong commentary from Brady Quinn right there. 216-474-0092. Coming up in 5 minutes, I want to play this Ryan Fitzpatrick stuff here again. Can we do anything without calling anything a lie? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, and who we're watching tonight. Also coming up on The Fan.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
Now, the Guardians fell behind the Angels again on Wednesday afternoon. However, Travis Bazzana started the comeback with a sac fly in the top of the fifth. In the top of the ninth, after Stephen Kwan tied the game with a ground rule double, Bazzana doing the job once again.
And with one out, Bazzana with a boomer to deep right. It'll be caught, tagging up, coming home with a go-ahead run. Rocchio will score. 4-3 Cleveland in the ninth. They have gotten up off the mat once again.
That Kersey Guardians TV, good guys win it 4-3. Cleveland sweeps the three-game set. They've now won 7 straight Bazzana Paris sac flies. Along with a pair of hits, Joey Cantillo wins 6 innings despite walking 7. Gives up 3 runs, 2 earned on only 2 base hits. Guardians rookie Chase DeLauder out of the starting lineup for the 3rd straight game, sore left hamstring. However, for the 2nd straight game, DeLauder used as a pinch hitter, this time single to start Cleveland's rally in the ninth. DeLauder was replaced by a pinch runner after today's off day. The Guardians hoping DeLauder good to go and be back in the lineup for tomorrow night's game at home against Kansas City. Guardians remain 2.5 games out of first in the AL Central. White Sox beat Texas last night 10-4. Chicago's Tristan Peters opened in his 5th consecutive game, tying a franchise and Major League Baseball record for a rookie. Cleveland got no closer to Chicago, but did up its lead over the Rangers for the final wildcard spot to 2 games. Browns wrapping up the preseason time, entertained the New England Patriots at the stadium. Browns 0-2 in games that don't count thanks to losses to the Bears and the Bills. Pats come in with a victory and a tie. Starters for both teams not expect to play. Dylan Gabriel's going to start at quarterback for the Browns. He'll be followed by Taylon Green. Catch the Browns and the Patriots tonight right here on 92.3 The Fan. Kickoff set for 8 o'clock. Listen to The Fan and Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, and can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I felt a jackhammering pain in my jaw.
Like someone sawing my bones. Barbed wire in my shoulder.
Like a cattle prod in my hip.
Like I put my foot in a blender.
Pain is different for everyone. But where pain starts, Jurnavix suzetrigine begins. Jurnavix is a non-opioid 50-milligram prescription tablet for adults with moderate to severe acute pain that reduces pain signals before they reach the brain. Before those signals tell the brain to feel
like I punched an angry beehive.
And pain reduction can finally begin. Do not take Jurnavix with CYP3A inhibitors. Avoid use with grapefruit or liver problems, as these may increase side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medicines if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Jurnavix may make certain medicines and birth control less effective. Side effects include itching, muscle spasms, rash, and elevated muscle enzymes. To learn more about Jurnavix, ask your doctor. Call 1-833-589-PAIN or visit jurnavix.com.
Hey everybody, Andy Baskin for Weather Seal Home Services. Want to make your old house new again? Boost your home's beauty and efficiency with Weather Seal. Choose from hundreds of colors through the end of the month and save 25% off of whole house siding with 60 months zero interest financing. That's until 2031. And your new siding purchase includes a polar wrap, great for energy savings. Save 25% on whole house siding plus 60 months zero interest financing. 330-920-4494 or go to weathersealhomeservices.com.
I'm Kyle Wright. If you're dealing with an injury, you don't need a sales pitch. You need straight answers. If you've been seriously injured in a crash or hurt at work, call me and ask your questions. We'll explain your options, and your consultation is free. We handle injury cases across the state of Ohio. Make it right with me, Kyle Wright. Call 844-WIN-OHIO. That's 844-WIN-OHIO, or visit ohattorneys.com.
Swiffer Power Mop.
I have a dare for you. After you use your old mop and bucket, put on your whitest socks and walk across the floor. Now look down. What's that gray stuff on your socks? I used to have that too, until I switched to Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop breaks down and locks away tough messes. Take the dare. Try Swiffer Power Mop. White sock approved.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Back again.
Our podcast.
Pooker's podcast.
Almost back to school time, Ari.
When it's back to school time and you have to get kids in bed on time and woken up on time, your blinds can help.
Yeah.
Room darkening, light filtering. It will help with their sleep schedule.
You guys will take care of everything?
Absolutely.
What deals do you have?
So we have 12 months no interest financing and also 5% off when you mention the radio ad. Pooker's Design Center. Pookers.com, or come in and see us at Berea or Broadview Heights.
Denise Ann has always been Down Bash Jewelers. That's who we are. It's made us who we are. Through this line, through this multifaceted diamond, people just see the difference between a traditional cut and our Denise Ann. It's not something we can explain, but once we show it to you, you'll never go back. You'll never see a traditional diamond again.
It gives everyone the chance to wear something that sparkles, which is what my mother always used to say. That's what jewelry's there for. Jewelry is meant to sparkle.
It's time to get everything you need for the job from one partner. No more juggling vendors. We've got your entire job supply covered. Supply the entire job with job lot quantities of everything you need, from flooring to roofing, with access to thousands of products not available in stores. More products mean more colors, sizes, and finishes, so you can get exactly what you need to get the job done. Learn more at the Pro Desk, the Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Every week on the Moth Podcast, you'll hear true stories that will intrigue you, inspire you, and make you laugh.
He said, is there anything in your diet that might be spiking your blood sugar? I said, sometimes I eat pizza until I'm unconscious. He said, I think that might be it.
For real stories live on stage from comedians, astronauts, accountants, farmers, and people just like you, follow and listen to The Moth wherever you get your podcasts.
Hear from Todd Monken immediately after the game. The official Browns postgame show is only on 92.3 The Fan.
I remember a time when I was in Seattle, and, usually on bootlegs, you never throw the backside post. And Pete Carroll challenged the quarterbacks. And he goes, hey, I want you guys to try to make our defense play honest. And if there's a boot, and if you can, buy time, figure out a way of throwing the backside post. I mean, usually it's your flat, it's your crosser, it's your comeback. Somewhere in there is your progression. The backside post is just to hold that backside safety from cutting the crosser. Well, the reality is we'd be throwing it up at times, and sometimes we get picked, sometimes we go incomplete. And when people are charting that, they're like, oh, what was he doing there? It's like, well, we're trying to work on something not only for us to see if we can do it, but also for our defense. It's just an example of things that go on that everyone on the outside is not always privy to, but they see the box score.
The nits and the grits. I love it.
So gritty.
So if they threw an interception, were all the interceptions on Shedeur or on Dylan Gabriel or on Deshaun Watson on the QB tracker? Kind of seems that, I don't know, real football people and real football coaches don't care about online stat trackers from practice.
And they, by the way, they do track. They do track every throw themselves. They also know the context behind it when fans don't. I mean, we're being questioned every single day. How could Watson have won the battle if he didn't win this tracker? And to that I go, this is a great weed out for people that know anything about how this stuff works. Doesn't mean you're not a good person or can't be a good fan of the team. But if you are making this the end all, then you're working in opposition to what every coach is trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm. But what are fans supposed to do when you have guys like Shannon Sharp, who's a Hall of Famer, right? and Ocho Cinco, and these guys that were titans of the game. It's not like Ocho Cinco was good at football, right?
He was.
And they're coming on and they're going, well, if you look at the last game, Shedeur won that game and Deshaun didn't, so Shedeur's getting screwed on this deal. Guys, I trust you to be really smart on football, and they have to know that
doesn't mean anything
than what you saw on TV, right?
Yeah.
They've been in camps.
And the best is that it doesn't separate for what were the drills, what were the quarterbacks asked to do on that. Maybe they didn't want the one read that everybody's like, it's open. And the coach is like, no, everybody can make that throw. We need you to make this throw. And Todd Monken doesn't owe it to you to explain every throw and what they were looking for. He's not going to waste his time.
Oh, yes, he does.
And this is all I'm saying is going into next year, we're going to have a new quarterback on this team that is going to have they're going to have their fan base. Let's say it's Arch Manning. He's going to have his fan base. And I'm just saying, Kenny, you're right. It's inevitable. We're going to put him through the exact same meat grinder. I just don't think it helps.
When we land either Dante Moore, because we ain't going to be very great this year. When we land Dante Moore, sorry, buddy boy, we are putting up a tracker. And your competition with Aiden McConnell is going to be something to behold that we remember for years to come. Your stat-by-stat comparison.
Honestly.
Right next to our generation's Gus Frerotte.
Honestly, if they can just stay off social media, because this isn't in real life.
No.
I'm not talking to people in real life about this stuff.
No.
Nobody's saying, but Anthony, the completion percentage on that graphic, nobody in real life is saying that. It is people online. So if that quarterback can just be, it could be suggested, hey, maybe you want to. Now, isn't Arch Manning really good at that? Hasn't Arch Manning stayed out of that mess over the years?
Oh, he has to.
I thought that was.
He has to.
They didn't have an open recruitment for him in the same way. They didn't do any of the stuff because they've tried to insulate him from all of that nonsense.
Yeah, you certainly would have to. I mean, it's a big issue, is it not? They have been that family's been scrutinized, and they would know what they want to be in, and they're very, very careful about all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised about any of it, whether it be Arch Manning, C.J. Carr. I would hope C.J. Carr isn't looking at that stuff. Dante Moore, any of them. 216-474-0092. Ryan Fitzpatrick was on his podcast. I found this yesterday. I found it fantastic. I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick has any reason to lie about anybody. I know that some people try to call him a liar. There have been bad actors in this. There have been people who have known less or more about football than we have. I have a high level of respect for him. Let's hear what Ryan Fitzpatrick had to say to Andrew Whitworth on their podcast together about Deshaun Watson winning it and why he ended up winning it. It's cut a little funny, but just hear Ryan Fitzpatrick out.
Rarely is he playing on time. I think this is probably why he lost the job to Deshaun. Rarely is a play getting operated like it's supposed to be operated. Your read is 1, 2, 3. That ball's got to come out. You've got a bunch of young receivers and you've got a bunch of young skill position guys. Deshaun Watson's delivering it on time and he's putting it in the right spot more often than not. Shador, antsy in the pocket a little bit, wandering eyes. Those are things he can improve at. You've seen it in the preseason. He's seeing the field a little bit better. Outside the numbers, 10 to 20 yards, you just don't see Shador throw it out there much. Preseason, what do we see right away? He hits a little comeback to the left side in that range. He has the arm to do it. He has the talent to do it. We just got to see it a little bit more.
And that's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Amazon still, correct? Is he here today?
He might be. I don't know. The game's an Amazon production tonight, right?
This is their run-through, right? Al Michaels, the whole deal?
Yeah.
See if we can get Ryan Fitzpatrick on. Because that seemed to be objective, did it not? Right?
I thought that was as fair. And if you also heard,
because if we're saying operations like crazy, that's the word of the training
totally
camp.
Fair, because it wasn't like he just said a lot of good things about Watson. No, he said Watson seems like cannot throw the football down the field for any kind of accuracy.
When he's talking about getting the ball out on time to the rookies, maybe he has a better chance to do so. It reminded me of my Jerry Jeudy post that I had and our Jerry Jeudy segment that we had earlier today, because he's actually listed as a cut candidate by CBS, him and Cedric Tillman, as 2 cut candidates possibly for the Cleveland Browns. And Owen, you agree with me about, like, I'm not ready to cut Jerry Jeudy yet. There are a lot of people who disagree with us.
I am not. I'm more on the cut side than you are.
Yeah.
But and Luke Flourier had a nice catch the other day. Had a nice touchdown. He's a localish product, right? Kent State guy. But if it's between the two of them, I got to go with the guy that's got the NFL experience, and hopefully, and it's mainly because you brought this up earlier too. Although I think he might be a problem in the locker room, we have not heard anything about him being an actual problem. So that's just more of my, intuition on what he's been, and probably thinking back to the things that like Schlereth said,
yes,
and how Steve Smith Sr. didn't like, those type of things.
Well,
that was also 3-4 years ago when all that was happening.
Everything that's been said on TV, Steve Smith, Mark Schlereth, the whole thing would lead you to believe he's a problem in the locker room. I've heard nothing. Lima, have you heard anything about him in the locker room being a problem? Okay. I've heard nothing going into year 3 about him being any sort of a problem in the locker room. By the way, Mentor put out some dudes.
Yeah.
Sneaky dudes. Like, we always think about Eds, Ignatius, that whole rigmarole there. I mean, going back, Trubisky, Scotty Fox down there at West by God. Yeah, man. Put out some dudes. Congratulations to the Cards.
I hope he's still with the organization and he can become a player for them at some point. But
Coach Trevisano
had it rolling,
today, then you'd probably have to go Jeudy over.
I still have my letter from Coach Trevisano, but when I won my scholarship from the American Football Coaches Association, the Ohio chapter.
So awesome.
Yeah. Been
Frame it on the wall.
Put it up by the letter you wrote to Don Staley.
It was a thank you card to Don Staley. Thank you very much. And how could I still have it? Because I mailed it to her.
I wouldn't put it past you to make duplicates.
Now, you can ask her if she still has my thank you card. I'm sorry. I just like to have good relations with successful people that are good people. Don Staley, successful person, good person.
She obviously sent you a thank you card for your thank you card.
Well, no, you don't need to do that. I've always felt weird. Like, when you get a thank you card, I'm like, am I supposed to send a text or am I supposed to send a thank you back?
Well, then it's just you get caught in this never-ending loop.
According to the internet, I need to send Shador Sanders a thank you card for my influx of cash.
Yes.
For mentioning him.
You're like, guys, bathing in dollar bills.
I get no bonus for mentioning his name. I'm just a real big fan of his dad's.
Thank him for a punch to the face.
Slap.
Slap is more degrading in many ways.
It really is when you break it down.
It's also kind of a
lot of people not a big
B move.
A lot of people not a big Jerry Jeudy fan. I'm just willing to, if we're going to evaluate this season, which some people went crazy, like he's a 7-year vet, there's nothing to. No, if this season's going to be an evaluation, then let's evaluate everybody. He's on the books. If he can work out a little bit better with some decent, who could end up being really good wide receivers, but the rookies in Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion, maybe he finds himself a little bit more open.
Yeah, it's if we find the guy next year, the quarterback next year, right?
Yeah.
In next year's draft, that's going to take 1 or 2 years for him to become.
And if Jerry Jeudy's a problem,
right? And if even then, Jerry Jeudy's going to be a 10-year vet at wide receiver is very.
Yeah, and if Jerry Jeudy's
especially for someone who's not Larry Fitzgerald or showed it early, right?
Totally agree. If Jerry Jeudy's garbage this year, then just move on, just cut him. Okay, didn't work.
We keep saying that about a lot of people, specifically one guy. If he's garbage, just cut him and move on.
Well, we can't.
They don't do that.
The hit against it because I
do it by March 13th.
Well,
or something.
Lima just mentioned Arch Manning, and I mentioned Dante Moore and all these guys. I want to put someone with them that's going to be able to help out. Like, can we go out? I don't know if you're going to be able to get Tyler Linderbaum or anything like that, but it'd be nice to have a little bit of money there to be able to go get a free agent that might fall between the cracks in certain places that can certainly help out a rookie QB and get us going and back on track there. That might be nice. That'd be a nice thing to do. But, yeah, watching all these guys tonight and seeing who can end up helping out, including Taylor Green.
Honestly, I'm excited to watch Taylor Green just because he's such a freak athlete that I want to see in a Monkhead offense, even in a game that obviously I'm not going to have a whole bunch of stock behind. I want to see him get out to the open field and run.
I'm avoiding a conversation because I don't want to give anybody any ideas. And we'll never watch Home Alone 2 the same way again. And Lima and I went, what? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
Hola, amigos. Brad Evans here to help you beat the bullets with Westwood One Sports. Bear down, Chicago. Caleb Williams is about to reset the franchise record books. No passer in team history has thrown for 4,000 yards in a season until now. If Williams displays better overall touch, he tops the high bar. Give me the over 3,600.5. Williams pass yards at -120. Bet smarter, beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Your sales team has the talent. They've got the tools. They don't have time to close the deals you need to win unless they have sales with AI. SAILES.com. Sales.com is pipeline.
Still don't know if I want to have it. I swear to you. Also, we lost Tim Curry yesterday. Been a rough couple weeks. Shelley Fabares died.
No.
Dolly Parton died.
Not Mrs. Coach.
Hey, Shelley Fabares was one of the queens, man. Christine Armstrong, she was the guiding light to Hayden Fox. I loved that show. You did too. Don't act like you didn't.
No, I did love it.
Okay, making sure.
Still do. Still watch it.
I went through twice after. Actually, no, I've been through a rewatch 3 times of Coach. I don't know what that says about
When's
me.
the last time you had time to do that?
Oh, it's been a while. The last time, I think it was during COVID, was the last time I went through, because they have it on Roku. Anyway, Shelley
for big Minnesota college football.
Yeah, that too. Shelley Fabares passed away. Dolly Parton passed away. And then we lost Tim Curry yesterday. And Lima goes, during a break, I'm not laughing about Tim Curry passing away, but during a break, Lima goes, what the hell does this even mean? I go, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Tell me what you read.
I saw the meme that had all these people from Home Alone 2 that are no longer with us. And I just laughed because the meme said, how are you going to be able to watch this movie ever again knowing this? And I'm like, I'd say most of the movies I watch include most of the main people that have died. I've never thought about it. I've never wondered how I was going to cope with that.
It's the same way I did when they were alive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch It's a Wonderful Life going, I can't believe we lost Jimmy Stewart, man.
Did I think I was going to meet these people someday? Is that part of the allure, or that I could go see them at a Comic-Con or something?
Mr. Gower sucks. Like, I like Tim Curry, and I like Rocky Horror Picture Show and Kiss Me Fat Boy. Like that, great. Everybody loved Tim Curry, man. Like, Tim Curry's good dude, good actor, the whole deal, man. And when he was the concierge, get you a limousine and a pizza, compliments of the Kiss Me Fat Boy Plaza Hotel.
He knows where all these are.
Yeah, he does.
Contrary to a conversation we've been having over the years.
The scene to me of him saying "Kiss me, fat boy" really spoke to me in my childhood for obvious reason.
This happened when Kobe died. Everybody, my buddies all knew that I was a huge fan.
Careful, you're touching
Kobe.
a rail here. Be careful.
No, it's just I got so many text messages as if it were a family member that died, and I'm like,
well, no, because
guys, Kobe.
Like of them going, "Are you okay, Anthony?"
Well, I wasn't gonna see him play basketball anymore. I didn't really care about that much beyond that.
Kobe didn't die. Kobe died in a tragedy.
Yeah.
Tim Curry, Dolly Parton was 80. Tim Curry was 80. They had a full life. All right? Kobe had just won an Oscar as a producer. There was still so much more to give.
I was not going to his movie premieres excited to see the Kobe movie.
But
I cared about him as a basketball player. He had retired. That was the end of my relationship with Kobe Bryant.
Well, that is all. But that is where, see, you mixed everybody up. That's on you, not on them. Because the day Kobe died, I thought I was going to call you and you were going to be emotional over it. And I called you and you're like, yeah, it sucks. What do you want to do on the show tomorrow?
That's not what I said. And I said something that would probably come off very bad. I'm like,
just don't say it then. Just don't say it. You don't got to say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
The odds
don't say it.
were the odds.
Don't say it.
I knew how he was getting around,
Well, okay.
and I'm like, well, you do that enough.
Well, don't say that. You said it, so away you go. But I thought you would be emotional. I've only seen you emotional over a death one time, and that was Les, when Les died. And I've never seen you. I've never seen you cry. I've heard you cry. Because when we got emotional over making the playoffs,
I was getting there
in 2020.
I was getting there with the Browns when they finally got through.
Well, I choked up, obviously. But don't play that either.
I was struggling with it too.
But what the hell were you? Yeah, I thought for sure you'd be emotional after Kobe passed away, and I called you, and you were like, "Yeah, it's a tragedy. What do you want to do on the show tomorrow?" And I'm like, well, Kobe died. And you're like, yeah, but we also have Cleveland sports. I'm like, okay, all right, never mind. Because I'm a basket case, and I cried. I still get emotional watching Dale Earnhardt stuff.
I know you do. You do have more of a bond, I think, with when Murray Wormuth left us.
There was a video.
That was devastating.
There is a video of Richard Childress driving the number 3 around Talladega, the last car he won in, and I had to recuse myself and go into the bathroom. Sat there, toilet lids closed away from my children, bawling my eyes out. This was like a year ago. Yeah.
All right, so obviously we lost Dolly Parton as well, which near and dear to my family's hearts as we get the books.
Grew up in a family full of Dolly Parton.
I've been watching a ton of videos, man. She was one of a kind. One of the few that, did you see both Democrats and Republicans had nice things to say about her? When does that happen?
One of the few.
In this day and age, when the Dixie Chicks go, that's not going to happen.
She's absolutely fabulous.
All right, so apparently in a time capsule.
They're not called that anymore. They're just called the Chicks now.
That's true. In I've only seen them 5 times live. Just kidding. Anyway, there's a time capsule for Dolly Parton, and they are going to release a song January 19th, 2046. And I thought to myself, what a 2-year run I'm going to have. I'm going to be able to go to Toledo to go see the U.S. Open at Inverness in 2045. And the following year, I'm going to have a hit single with Dolly Parton. So we need to continue to do this. There needs to be stuff to look forward to for when I'm really old and going to be walking around.
Oh, my gosh, she'll be 60.
Yeah.
These kids will be like, what, 12? And
who knows? I'll even have a relationship with them at that point.
Well, it is a family tradition.
A tradition like any other.
Anyway, about 2 minutes before this all started, and you told me the Dolly Parton thing and said, did I get it? Did you get that? The song that doesn't come out for 20 more years?
I figured you had AI working on it. What would a song from Dolly Parton?
You asked him if he had the song that won't come out for 20 years.
Did you see the interview with Barbara Walters? I think we need to have an entire cable network devoted to old Barbara Walters interviews. She was sitting there, and I can't do a Barbara impression, nor would I ever try to. But
do a Sherry O'Terry.
That's what I was thinking. I can't think of Barbara Walters without thinking of Sherry O'Terry.
She was asking a much younger Dolly Parton, like, why do you dress like that? Why do you look like that? Have you always had that bust? Like, she was asking her this on national television, and Dolly was so nice about it.
I liked her cameo in the Beverly Hillbillies. You don't remember that movie? Rob Schneider was in that movie too.
It's one of my favorites.
I liked it. Who played Jake? The guy who's Ernest. Why am I drawing a blank? Well, you tell
Jim
today.
Varney.
Jim Varney. He played Jack Clampett. Diedrich Bader was in it. You can tell today is a preseason game. You can tell today is a preseason game that Dylan Gabriel started.
And making sure.
Good luck tonight, Dylan. We hope you get everything you want. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.